Okay, we got a few people in here. I'm gonna record this as well and put it up on YouTube, maybe slightly edited, so anybody who missed this can watch, or if you need to go halfway through, you can watch everything. But yeah, we're gonna do an axe tier list of every manga from 2019 to 2023 present day. One of them on here might be a little sketchy. I don't think it's that sketchy. It's Icehead Gill. It's dying, guys. I think it's pretty obvious. I don't think there's any saving it. Ichinose is definitely ending soon. I think we're probably going to get another batch as the year ends, and Gill's going to go. If it survives past that, I don't know how, because the current pacing is insane. So I've added it in like last minute. But yeah, I'll go and describe the tiers. I don't really like using A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. I like kind of descriptive tiers, so we have the three middle ones, good, okay, and mixed. I think they're fairly self-explanatory. Mixed is kind of stuff that's maybe has good parts, but also bad parts. Ichinose is ending, not getting acted. Yeah, ending. Definitely ending. I know there's some people who are saying it's getting axed. I don't think so. It's definitely ending. But it's ending soon. And Gill's probably going to end close by it. And we'll get another batch there. Gill getting head smashed like in Jason X. Potentially. I mean, it's a pretty head smashing time, I think, with Gill right now. Okay, the other tiers, though. So, the three middle ones, self-explanatory. Transcends the axe. It transcends the axe. Even though it got axed, it's still good, I think. It's like a cohesive, enjoyable story, even though it ended probably not in the way the author intended. And then we have Firewood, which I said a little bit earlier. An axe chops firewood. Firewood is just made for the axe. It is trash, if you want to call that tier that. It's a bit of a mean word, but some of these manga aren't very good. A couple of other things. Weird sounds you might hear. My chair is extremely squeaky. Don't be alarmed if you hear that. And if you hear faint bells in the background, that's because I live by a church. Likely you might hear them. I'm not too sure. But yeah. Other than that, we got a lot of manga to get through today. I also have this up. I wonder how it'll look on stream. We'll give it a sec. It is my AniList kind of custom like Shonen Jump list with like all the manga there, so I can easily kind of go through them and view them. I'm a weeb of God. I have the power of anime and Jesus on my side. Not really though. Okay. I think I'm just going to start alphabetically. I think that's a good enough way to go through these. And we start with Nine Dragons Ball Parade. Anybody feel free to chime in with comments on any of the manga as we go through. I know Cactus hasn't seen them. You can imagine what they were like, I guess. But yeah, Nine Dragons Ball Parade baseball manga. In a time where we don't really get sports manga too much anymore. And if you've been watching the stuff on the channel, you'll know baseball was so big in Japan's heyday. In Japan and Jumps kind of 70s, and I guess 60s as well. They loved their baseball manga. There were times where they regularly had 3 or more at the same time. But now, Nine Dragons Ball Parade just... it is... We're going to just put it in the middle for now. It didn't do very well. We'll pick up AniList, actually. We can go find it. I don't know how this is going to look on stream. We'll just go to the page. So, I get a bit confused with AniList because sometimes the chapter count isn't reflective of the actual count, because it says 22 chapters here. But it has 2 extra chapters, so I think 20 chapters. I don't actually remember off the top of my head how many chapters every manga lasted. But 20 chapters isn't very long. So baseball manga at 20 chapters, yeah. I actually enjoyed the beginning quite a lot. I like the two main characters, and they're kind of like the nerdy one who worked really hard and studied a ton, and he wanted to get into a really good team. And then you have the kind of more freewheeling type of character who, I don't know, they had a really good rapport with each other. I really liked how they interacted. But it just quickly becomes, like, after the third member, like, way too rushed. Like, they knew they were going to get axed already, or they were just trying to unite all the team quickly. And it's really hard to tell if should they have kind of rushed more to get the team in like fighting order quicker, or should they have kind of been slower with it and spent time developing the team. I really don't know like what the best way to do that is, because I don't think we've had an amazing sports manga for a while. Like Haikyuu is the last huge one, I'm pretty sure, other than Hinamaru Zumo, which is slightly after Haikyuu. But baseball wise, like Mr. Full Swing maybe is the last big-ish one, and before that maybe Rookies, which I know Rookies is very different to Nine Dragons. But yeah, Nine Dragons, I like the artwork a lot. I don't remember hearing about the author much. We have some comments. Worst part that it was a baseball manga with no baseball. Yeah, that's the thing. They spent so long trying to get the team together. They never played proper baseball. Or like by the time we got to the baseball, it was like 3 chapters at the end. Which was like, man, I wish they played a bit more baseball. But yeah. And half the team you didn't know about either. It feels kind of cursed in that regard. It's kind of sad. And then Cactus saying we need a Yakuza baseball manga. I agree. I think Yakuza Baseball sounds cool, although that's kind of what Rookies is. Rookies is a delinquent baseball series. I think if you want a Yakuza baseball series, you'll really enjoy Rookies. I'm gonna praise Rookies so hard, like hopefully in future videos. I love it so much. But Nine Dragons Ball Parade is sadly not Rookies, or Kowloon's Ball Parade. But yeah, good art. Okay beginning. I enjoyed it at least, but it quickly just got rushed. I don't think any character stuff is really resolved or anything. The plot's very basic. I do like it, and I'm gonna kind of struggle placing it. I think it was enjoyable for baseball fans, but people that don't know the sport, yeah. For people who didn't know anything about baseball, I don't think I knew as much then, so it was a little confusing. I don't know how well baseball is selling right now in Japan either. Like, I know Major's still going on, I think, but it's probably not as big as the 70s. I wish it could have gone on longer. I'd like a really long sports manga. I think I have to put it in, like, mixed. Because I do like elements of it, like quite a bit, but it's just not very satisfying, and it really suffered from being cut. And I think that might be a big reason why some of these get low, is just the abruptness of its ending. Like, it really didn't live up to its full potential. Unlike Blue Lock, which sells football hard, yeah, I think Blue Lock does a good job at selling you of like just the idea of football, but it's definitely tackling sport in a different way. Diamond of Ace as well, yeah. Yeah, so there are good baseball series out there that are currently running, but Nine Dragons Ball Parade isn't one of them. I'll wait a sec just in case anyone has anything to say about Nine Dragons Ball Parade before we move on. Blue Lock is so bad. Worst series to sell football. I know football fans who hate Blue Lock so much, but it's so enjoyable to me. It's so goofy, and the art's really nice. The characters are just so over the top. Like, that author's crazy. I think they also did Jigan and are they doing Super Bowl girls? I think maybe I'm not 100%. Blue Lock is decent, but holy fuck, it can be oh yeah, it's cringe as well. But I think it's cringe in a good way. I think that's another thing. We're talking about Blue Lock, not Nine Dragons, which is kind of sad. But yeah, it's sadly a bit of a mediocre sports flop from 2019, I think. I'm not great on it might be 2020. But yeah, we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to a Gravity Boys. These 9 balls. Sorry, Nine Dragons. I'm not putting you in firewood though. I did enjoy you, at least somewhat. And it has nice art again. That's always a plus for me. But a Gravity Boys, this is a beloved one by many. I think it had quite a good run as well. I'm gonna go actually find it so we can check. Includes the epilogue, 6 extra chapters, and one-shots. So that's like 7. I guess I could check Jump actually for these, because I think everything we're going to look at is in the Jump app. Okay, Gravity Boys is 51 chapters in its original run. 51 chapters is actually really good. That means it survived over a year. While I was looking for it, because I was thinking about putting a Gravity Boys on the thumbnail, mostly Chris, because Chris is an example of like one of the only femboy characters I think in Jump. I noticed it did have a few color pages, which I'm happy it got. 52 including the special. Okay. So we're already thinking Transcend the Axe in the chat. Cactus thinks it had a decent run. Yeah, it did. For what it is, which is a weird sci-fi comedy that's kind of gay. It definitely is pretty gay. It's very kind of, it has BL tones. It's not a full BL manga or anything, but there's like 4 boys. One of them is very feminine. There's lots of jokes about people finding the feminine one cute, including the final arc, or like the kind of big arc before the end, the Penis World arc being so good. I think that span of chapters when, is it Grislow, I think, finds out Chris is a boy and goes into the forest, and then the Penis World arc starts, are some of my favorite like weekly Jump memories. I think it probably was at the top of my list for like a few weeks in a row. It's not gay, it's just boys acting sus together. Broccoli Anal War arc. Yeah, that was a good one too, like the backstory arc. And the Penis World arc, a peak fiction. Now we got some Fs for connection for Gale Force. I'm sorry if the connection isn't great on your end or mine. But I'm recording everything, so hopefully you won't miss too much. But yeah, Gravity Boys has some crazy arcs. There's like arcs where I think a couple of characters started streaming. There's some just good gags kind of throughout as well. Just like all the penis jokes. There's the little otter chocolate as well. I always remember he's actually in the background of my kind of Jump scrolling videos. And someone asked, like, what's that cute otter with the mechanical legs in the background? So clearly people like him without having watched the Gravity Boys. I think all 4 of the main characters are pretty fun. I hope that banging isn't being picked up. Like Chris, obviously. Funny kind of femboy who gets mistaken for girls. Baba is a legend. Like kind of on the level of Gachi Gorilla from Roboko, I think, but probably cooler. He's basically Gachi Gorilla's dad. I I forget the other two characters' names, but the sciencey boy was fun. He had some really good jokes, and then the kind of prototypical one was funny as well, because like you think he's gonna be the straight man of the group, but he kind of isn't. He's kind of just super dumb. Geralt, yeah. Best antagonist in New Gen was the guy that had haikus on his nipples. I don't quite remember that, but I do like the kind of alternative faction. I don't think they're really enemies. The other boys, and some of the villains were funny. Like I think there was like a crime syndicate and like an intergalactic policewoman. Just a weird manga, really weird comedy one that most people who've actually read it all really, really love, including me. So I'm gonna move it to Transcends the X. It's such a fun series. It ends really well as well and satisfyingly. Like, you never expected it to last this long. I don't know how it got in Jump, to be honest. It feels like such a weird curveball, but I'm glad it lasted like I'm guessing like 6 volumes, maybe 7 even, because there was a lot of bonus chapters listed in the Annie list thing. But yeah, that's a Gravity Boys. Definitely read it. I really want to talk more about it one day, on some video. Like, I guess eventually everything here will get an X-Files. Okay, I'm just going to wait a sec then, just in case there's any more comments before we move on. Okay. So next we have Aliens Area, which is a more recent one and a really good one, I think. If you are in the Discord or just have seen the channel, you'll know I like the X-Files and I like Aliens. I named the X thing after the X-Files, and the Aliens Area kind of feels like it could have been like the X-Files of Shonen Jump. So you might already see where I'm kind of leaning towards it, but it's such an interesting series. Art-wise, I love the author's art. I really want to see them again. I think they had a one-shot this year, so hopefully that bodes well for them. And they were doing like another series as well as Aliens Area at the same time, I think, which is sick. Like, I'm always really impressed when mangaka can do that. Last 3 chapters were pretty good, but the rest was ass. I don't know. I liked the intro was kind of, could have been better. Could have been a ton better. But there were some chapters like after that, the kind of one where they're in the rice fields and stuff, I really, really liked. Just really kind of relaxing atmosphere to it. And then some of the times when they're trying to solve problems without violence, I thought was really interesting. And if the series went on longer, I would have liked to see like more creative use of just solving problems and stuff by, I don't know, working with like different aliens and like trying to figure out what they need or what they want. Vermilion Mask, apparently a monthly series. Yeah, I think it was monthly. I don't remember what it was, but I will go with that. And I'm just Alex, just followed. Star Trek style, I guess. Yeah, Star Trek style, X-Files style, just procedural kind of alien show. That's what I was hoping it would be, and it kind of was for the small amount of time we got with it. We got some more waves and another Kiryu. But yeah. Then we have the ending, which Sky's Aid thought was good, and I think it's really good as well. They build up like a really interesting antagonist right at the end, and it's a shame we didn't get more of them, but I really liked how they wrapped that up, and they wrapped up the whole story really. because it wasn't very long at all. Hello, Lasha Luke. Welcome. Thanks for following as well. We are on Aliens area. Yeah. There's so much like lost potential with Aliens area. I just really wish it could like go on for longer. And the volume covers are so sick. They're so good, like all three of them. I know people like the last two more, but the first volume cover with the cows, I just love to bits. I think mainly because of the kind of association with aliens and abducting cows. It's such a fun cover. It's so colorful. I just want the artist to get a success so we can have some like amazing covers for a series and I can just own them all. I almost bought Aliens Area as well, but I just don't have room, despite the covers looking so good. It's more, I think, personal for me. I understand like Aliens Area. Some people don't like parts of it in the beginning and maybe the pacing. There's some kind of shonenisms as well which were there, which I wish were, I guess, toned down. Like there was like at the exam they were doing. Them picking the weapons was cool though. It reminded me of World Trigger, but I don't know. I wish it was tighter at the beginning, so it maybe could have survived. I'm not sure if it's the right series for Jump though, but I really enjoy it. I don't think it transcends the acts in any way, but it's definitely one of my favorites from recent years. Sorry, I think everything with the aliens was kind of bad. I wish the aliens were kind of more unique as well. Like a few of them I don't remember being too interesting. Better as an alien political... Yeah, it was. I don't know if the right audience is there in Jump for that. I hope there was. Classic alien cow stuff, yes. The parking... yeah, I like the parking ticket stuff. We're not really at Earthchild or Ayashimon yet. We'll get there soon, though. Otakuhan, I wanted Alien Area to continue. I did as well. It's such a good series. It could have been my X-Files in Jump. It could have been like my main channel feature, but no. Okay, but yeah, that's Aliens Area. I think it's good. And we're gonna move on to Ayashimon, one of the few like Axe manga to get a physical English release alongside Red Hood. I don't know if another one ever did get one. Feel like it could have been a good series in Jump SQ with longer chapters. Yeah, Aliens Area. I think that could have fit it more, especially if it leaned more into the political aspects. Longer chapters probably would have helped. But onto Ayashimon. I'm blanking on the author's name. Yuji Kaku. Hell's Paradise, something I still have not watched or read. Although I've read and watched the first chapter and episode. And it's really good. I just have not had the time to read, predominantly because it's not on like the app. It's only on the web version of Viz. And I much prefer to read manga on my phone when I'm like traveling or in bed or something. I hope to read Hell's Paradise at some point because most people say it's really good. I like the general concept of Ayashimon, and the villain was pretty intimidating. Yeah, why can't I think of the villain's name? I think the villain coming in was definitely one of my favorite chapters. It was like, oh damn, you're here like really quickly. Personally, Ayashimon is much better than Hell's Paradise. If I hear, I'd let you borrow the volumes. I feel like Ayashimon being better than Hell's Paradise might be a bit of an iffy take, just considering how long Ayashimon went for. For me, though, as someone who loves Yakuza, I loved Ayashimon so much. It felt like a series made for me. It mixed elements of Yakuza with Mashiro, who loves like Shonen Jump, and it's also like old Shonen Jump as well. Those little references were really fun to see. And then it also mixed in like lots of stuff with yokai, which I found really interesting. And I remember actually making like a Twitter thread about the Tanuki stuff, I think. I think maybe getting some bits right. But that was really interesting to theorize and think about. Could never really get into Ayashimon, but I understand why it has so many fans. Yeah, I think it has a lot going for it. As just a regular battle shonen, I think it's strong enough. Probably not the coolest or anything, but like all of the Yakuza tinges. I think the way they initiate battles as well, I just loved. Like they'd go up to each other and say something like, "This is a battle of something. This is a battle of soul." Some of the just characters were cool. I mean, Mashiro. I don't know if his name is Mashiro. And I'm gonna blank on so many names today. Urara. I think it's Urara. Oh god, Mahiro. Mahiro and Urara, I think. But her design is so cool. I love her so much. I remember doing some fan art as well. Even though it was a very short series, I managed to get a couple of pieces done. I just love the design so much. The bike guy as well, who comes in later, is super cool. Really like that arc. Urara, yeah. What did I say? I think I said Urara. Urara? Ayashimon had a lot of good aspects, but it fell short in almost all of them. I don't know. I think the artwork was good. I think the world building was really fun, with it establishing all the different like parts of the Yakuza group, because you had the hotels, you had, I want to say there was like a cabaret in there as well, which just felt very Yakuza to me. The bikers, that was all really cool, how they were building them up as these different factions, which had different allegiances. I like the action as well. I remember like some of the earlier fights pretty well, like the fire guy he's fighting in the diner. I really liked the brutality of the antagonist and the way he turns people into like art pieces. I thought was kind of sick. Just like, no, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to immortalize you as a weird art piece, probably forever in pain. It's weird because I enjoyed reading it, but whenever I try to look back on it, it was just so forgettable for some reason. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on what you like. I think just for me, the Yakuza elements, like I remember them really well, and the jump stuff as well. I think the ending, where we get a kind of meta aspect to it, where Mahiro's writing for Jump was really cool. It's kind of weird because I think Red Hood ended around the same time, or like recent to that. I feel like it anyway. So it felt like we had a lot of meta endings at the time. It could have had a better ending, but I think we ended up getting Our Battle Continues type of one, which is kind of ho-hum. That's some Dark Elder stuff though, converting people into something and they're still alive. Yeah, I think it does, based on what I know of Warhammer, maybe similar. And the art of all the creepy stuff as well was pretty sick. Yeah, I wish it lasted longer. I still I find it so frustrating that it ended before Shugomaru, and then Dororon, we'll get to it later, but that ended up lasting so long compared to Ayashimon. I wish Ayashimon could have had the Dororon run instead, because I think it probably could have at least visited all the factions and had like a final battle, which we never got in the actual run. Red Hood got cancelled for Ayashimon. A good trade in my opinion. Others will disagree though. But yeah, it's a testament though that this got a physical release in the West. Like a ton of people like this. including me, this is actually one of my favorite Jump manga. Like, in my top 100, I think this might be in my top 10 or like just underneath my top 10. It just has so much like specifically aimed at me that I love. And even though it didn't end like super well, I just have such a fondness for it. And it's just like, this is my little axe manga. I love to bits. I'm so glad I have a copy in English. I also have a copy in Japanese, which I bought just in case it never got one in English. And I was really surprised when it got one in English as well. And yeah, the covers are sexy. The covers are so cool. They're so vibrant. They have so much color to them. They're super solid. I hope Ichigaki makes another manga. Probably not in Jump though. It didn't seem to work too well for him, but do something new in Jump Plus. Yeah, make something cool. Wish I had more. Yeah, the color pages were so good as well. I really liked the second one it got with the I think Mahiro holding Urara was really nice. But yeah, I'm gonna just leave it there for a sec as we wait. It's kind of looking top heavy so far, I promise you. I think there'll be a lot more at the bottom by the end of this. Maybe by the next one even, because I've just noticed what it is. Uh-oh. I think we're just going to move on. To one, I don't know how long we're going to stay in this one. Beast Children. Beast Children was interesting because I think it came out around the time I want to say like the rugby championships were going on in Japan, or maybe it was the Olympics, or was that the Olympics more recent? I just remember there was something to do with rugby going on at the time, and a lot of people were like, yeah, it makes sense, they're gonna publish this and really push it, but it never felt like they pushed it hard enough. And I think I'll be honest, there's a couple on here, I think the 2019 ones, which I think I actually dropped some. I don't think I read all of them, and I need to go back and read them because I need to be the guy who's read everything in Jump, or at least most of it. I'll definitely reread for an X-Files video though. I don't know a single person who was super no, neither do I. I don't think anyone was super into Beast Children. Unless you loved rugby, I guess. 2019 World Cup. Okay, there we go. Thank you, SkyZade. Okay, yeah. What to say? Let's get back to Beast Children. It's fitting Beast Children gets interrupted. I honestly don't have much to say about it. So main character was like this little tiny guy who I think loves rugby, and there's like another edgy Sasuke character, and it's kind of funny where the Sasuke guy kind of tricks the little kid to just join a different team because he wants to join the same team as him, but he just lies like, oh yeah, I'm on this team, I think. And then he goes to join it and he's just not there. And it's just full of kind of crazy, beastly men. But other than that, like, it's a rugby series. I don't know. Out of like every sport, I feel like I'd kind of be into rugby because I actually played it in school a little bit because it's really big in Wales. But yeah, it just didn't click with me at all. Some of the art was kind of bad as well. I don't like saying artwork's bad, but there were some faces which just weren't it. Not saying I could draw better, but you can draw better. I don't know. Some of those faces needed a second pass. No, I'm not buff. I'm just tall. Not like I played rugby for a team or anything. Just like in school, the kind of regular sport we play was rugby. I actually, while playing once, I fractured someone's knee, like completely on accident, and I was really upset that I did that. Out of all the sports you can make a series around, I feel like rugby would be really hard to get popular. It really depends. I don't know how popular rugby is in Japan. I think it's decently popular, but like the other countries it's popular are like the UK, New Zealand, Africa, I think. I'm not massive on sport, but yeah, it's not like football or baseball, I feel, level of popularity. And that said, like Beast Children's Firewood, maybe I'll change my mind when I reread, but it didn't offer anything new. The art didn't even impress me, unlike Nine Dragons, and I didn't feel attached to the main character at all. I don't think anyone's going to be upset though, because either no one's read Beast Children or no one has an especially like loving outlook towards it, sadly. South Africa and Australia. Yeah, Australia as well. He just throw people. Okay. That's Beast Children. I don't know if I'm actually going to wait for people to say anything, because I doubt people actually have anything to say about Beast Children. Just joined, going to be here for 10 minutes, but seeing A and B in the... seeing a Gravity Boys at the top makes me really happy. That's Crash from Manga Crash. I will probably link his channel maybe in the video of this VOD, because his stuff is sick. And Crash is just in time for us to cover Our Blood Oath, which is the best manga ever in Jump. As a massive vampire fan, I should have loved this so much. But it's actually horrible. 2 goats on 1 stream. I'm crying for happiness. I don't know if Crash is saying how dare you that I said Our Blood Oath is good or bad. You'll have to extrapolate. But Our Blood Oath is definitely, I think, at least the worst modern Jump manga I've read. I don't know about the worst of all time, because there's a few not very good old ones, like Musashi, which comes to mind, which I absolutely hate. But Our Blood Oath is just baffling. I don't know how it got into Jump. Best first chapter ever. I love how they didn't even focus the first chapter on the main characters. Our Blood Oath was the worst Jump I've read. Yeah, it's... I mean, I'm going to put it down there already, because there's no other way you can... There's nowhere else you can put it. I think I have had a message from someone who really liked Our Blood Oath, and I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry for you. Like, I'm going to absolutely shit on this manga one day. Poor vampire reputation. Yeah, that's the thing with vampires. I feel like the vampire stuff is either like really good and kind of indulgent and has good thematic value, or it's absolute trash, which can either be like schlocky and really enjoyable, or just really bad. And this is a case where Our Blood Oath is a really bad vampire piece of media. Are these organized in any particular order? I think they're alphabetical, but they're alphabetical based on what I like named the files. So I think I just called this one Blood Oath and not Our Blood Oath. There was a stan on Twitter constantly arguing with me about it back in the day. I could not take anyone seriously if they loved Our Blood Oath. I mean, I'd try to if they genuinely loved it. I'd be like, okay, I'm glad someone loves this manga, but it's really bad, dude. Our Blood Oath, more like snore. Yep, it's just not engaging. They liked it so much they got physicals from Japan. Oh, they're probably like one of 10 people who actually own that manga. Yeah, I think every series having one fan is nice. Like, I'm glad like at least one of these manga, like someone has bought physicals. I try not to look down on people if I don't like a series. Our Blood Oath though is like, what's appealing about it? Maybe I need to do like Interview with a Vampire, but it's like Interview with an Our Blood Oath fan. I'm sure some rugby nut loves Beast Children. Okay, other things about Our Blood Oath. Not very good artwork. Probably some of like the worst overall artwork I've seen in Jump. It's just not very good. The character designs are really bland. Every time the kid went into like super blood mode, I kind of laughed because it looked really cringy. It tried to have some moral vampire stuff going on, but it just wasn't interesting. And then towards the latter half of the series, I remember like one side character just kind of going crazy and like beating the shit out of people. It's been a while since I've read it, but it's just not very good. So it's definitely in Firewood. Probably deserves its own tier, but I'm not gonna make one. It would be Ash, I guess, like burnt Firewood. But yeah, that's a poopy one. And another one that might also be considered poopy is Bone Collection. I know a lot of people don't like Bone Collection. Poor Jun Kirarazaka. It's okay, SkyZade. It will be recorded, so hopefully you'll enjoy that then. I'm sorry you don't get to interact though. Hope everything's okay. Thanos snap tier bracket. Erased from existence. Manga Crash, you're not the One Bone Collection fan, because I'm also the One Bone Collection fan. I really like Bone Collection. The first chapter, I don't think I was a fan of. I think I really disliked it, actually. But then, as the chapters kind of piled up, I kind of fell in love with it. Last comment is going to be that Bone Collection is absolute ass and deserves to be burnt. See, we're going to get some duality here. There's more people who dislike it than like it, I think. But there's definitely people who really enjoy it. Including me. I think Bone Collection is kind of a grand time. The relationship between Pyra and I forget the main character is really sweet. His ability to take, I think, bones. Does he take bones out of him and Pyra uses them bones, or he takes bones out of Pyra? I think he takes bones out of Pyra, and each bone is it like a different weapon or a different kind of thing? That was really interesting. The art style I just also really love. The covers are like really nice as well. Although the second one looks like it's drawn by a completely different artist, I still really love it. It's going to be fun to like flash those up on the screen, I think. I just didn't care for the premise. Yeah, I don't know if the premise was like really laid out well in the first chapter, but I did come to really love it. And if it lasted, it could have been like a really fun like romance type manga in the same vein as like Mission Yuzakura or Undead Unluck. I think is more of an apt comparison, where you have kind of small regular-ish human and then a weird undead one, because that's what Andy and Pyra are. And Pyra also has a sick design. I really like how she looks, and her weird like cross eyes. He takes bones from her boobies. Yeah, that's such a good like kind of etchy twist on it, and it just makes for some really good, I think, panels. I seem to remember. And then Crash saying, I honestly thought it was cute and funny and didn't care about the battle aspects. I think I cared about the battle aspects just because they were fun and I liked the bone idea. But the kind of gag stuff was really fun later on. I liked the weird kind of girl character who turns into a creepy man. That was interesting. And then the two I don't know if they were twins or sisters or friends or something in the last arc. I also really enjoyed them. And I thought the last arc had a kind of a ton of potential with the villain they were setting up. It's funny how Mission Yuzakura was close to being cancelled, and now look at it. Yeah, it's doing good for itself. Would I have liked Bone Collection more, though, instead of Mission Yuzakura? Perhaps. Maybe. Actually, I don't think I'm going to say that, because all the Yuzakura fans are going to boycott me. I'm glad Bone Collection exists. I kind of wish it went on longer, but I still really enjoy it. A big part of that is its ending is just super solid, like the wedding with all the bones. I think Jun really nails his axed endings, because we saw one with Dororon, which we'll get to later, I guess. Or at least I hope so, because time's kind of ticking. But I don't know, the endings he does are really satisfying to me. That said, I don't think I can put it above Transcends the Axe. It's a good series for me. It's going to be controversial. I'm not going to put it above Alien's Area, though. But I really enjoy Bone Collection. I think it's genuinely a lot of fun. And probably not my most controversial take, as you'll see later on. Boob Bones, yes. Mission Yuzakura came into its own after a while. Yeah. Sadly, Mission Yuzakura isn't an axed manga. But what is an axed manga is Build King. By, I forget his name. The author, Shima Bakuro, the author of Toriko and Den Takeshi, Inspiring Leader Den Takeshi, Den Takashi. I haven't read it yet. I sadly will have to. I'm looking forward more to Toriko than Den Takeshi. I don't think I'm saying it right. Build King needs to be Thanos snapped from existence. Boring premise, boring character design, awful paneling. I say it's an anomaly. It looks to be cancelled but preserved. Okay. We're going to keep going with Build King. Feel free to talk about yours in the comments, I guess, but I don't know how much I'll add to it because I've got a lot of manga to get through. Build King, it didn't last very long. Kind of an example of a kind of established author coming back to Jump and just getting shit on really hard. The idea of having a shonen build series, like, is very weird. Like, building houses specifically. There's some interesting, like, thematics they could do with that, with, like, the idea of home. I don't think they really delve into that too much, though. Tonkaichi, I think, is the main character. I don't think he's very interesting. His brother is cooler, and the Spider Girl who's added to the group later on is way cooler than that. With the kind of Dracula spidery creepy arc being my favorite part of the manga. Like, I actually enjoyed the weird, like, tower, I think built into a dragon's skeleton. I thought that was really cool. But everything else just kind of sucked, like, really bad. Just the world building wasn't interesting to me. I'm not a massive fan of his artwork, I must admit. The setup for their, like, backstory and just general characters just weren't interesting. They tried to go into everyone having, was it like a color-based power or something later on, and the main character has, like, the darkness power or void, and it felt really dumb. Yeah, what's everyone else saying about it? I think the problem with veterans coming back is that they don't adapt to the times. It's the same thing with Samurai 8, or we'll get to Samurai 8. But I think I agree. Build King definitely feels a little dated in how it's constructed. Plus, the mangaka doesn't have a positive... No, he definitely doesn't have a positive reputation. I think probably a bit more positive in Japan. Not in the West, though. I don't know. That's a whole, like, debate slash video I can make on Jump authors, which I don't really want to because other people have, to be honest. And then Crash. The premise and world was interesting, but the MC was pretty boring. His artwork looked like it's made of plastic to me. Yeah, his artwork is very plasticky. One thing I kind of have a personal grudge against Shimabukuro is in the Dragon Ball cover redraws that they're doing, where the idea is everyone's meant to redraw the cover in the kind of own style. He just drew a Dragon Ball cover, like I think he just took elements from a color page or a cover page and just drew it in the style of Toriyama. And I just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, showcase your style. You have a really interesting and unique style, even though I don't like it very much. So that's all I think of when I think of Shimabukuro. It just really annoys me. He just didn't understand like the art prompt. I'm gonna be Build King. Yeah, I'm gonna be the Build King. It's very traditional. Exactly. I've had to research these problematic authors for a segment. Yeah, I don't envy you for that. There's some rough stuff. I think the one cancelled manga I've actually talked about has a kind of interesting reason for cancellation. That being Ultimate Path High School in the newest Jump video. Like, for once, the author isn't like a creep or anything. It's just a weird technical issue to do with them using real school emblems, which their assistant added in. I wonder if that's on the iceberg. That'd be interesting. But yeah, Build King, man, nah, it's firewood. Like, it's maybe almost in a mix. There's a couple elements which are kind of cool, but there's not enough. Definitely higher than Beast Children, and definitely higher than Our Blood Oath, though. It has a couple things going from it. The Build King is real. oh boy. Sadly, it is real. And it's not a very good manga, and that's why it's in Firewood tier. I know I'm getting ahead, but was Icehead Gill axed? No, it wasn't announced yet, but I put it on here because it's definitely gonna get axed, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna have a massive egg on my face, and it's gonna be funny anyway. So that's why it's here. And we're gonna talk about Gill, I guess. But right now we're gonna talk about Candy Flurry. One a lot of people actually really like, surprisingly to me. Gill has the best axes, so he fits. Yeah, I feel like Gill has to come on here. He's the best at axes. Okay, we have Alex saying Candy Flurry was cute, but aside from the candy theming, it was kind of a generic battle shonen. I think that's my biggest issue with it, is it introduces this idea of this apocalyptic candy world, and the apocalyptic kind of Tokyo aspect barely features in it, and I wish it featured more. It just becomes a regular school battle manga where you have like the good guys who just feel like a generic student council body president, student council body kind of type group where all the kids are in the school and they're the good guys, and then the bad guys are, I guess, candy terrorists. Is kind of interesting, but they don't get fleshed out enough. And Luke saying Candy Flurry I love a lot. The power system is very unique and could have done so much with it. I agree. That's actually something I really would have liked. Okay, Crash has to go. I'll see you, Crash. I hope you enjoyed the VOD, and I hope I don't shit on any manga you really like, which got axed. Possibly Shugomaru. We'll see what I say when I get to it. Cactusing, do they have a dentist group? That would have been such an interesting group of villains, like a dentist group. Sadly, from what I remember, the villains just kind of wanted to destroy everything, with the kind of main villain also being a lollipop user like the protagonist, and so that's why she's trying to clear her name. It's not very well written, though, I don't think. I don't even remember how it ends. I don't think the ending really was that memorable, or at least to me. If Gill is on here, is Ichinose? I'm not putting Ichinose on here because I feel like the ending is kind of natural. Yeah. Okay, back to Candy Flurry, though. Another thing I didn't like, I think the art was kind of subpar. Like, again, like, it's serviceable. Usually Jump always has serviceable artists. Like, now and again, people have some odd drawings, but these people are so good at drawing. But Candy Flurry is definitely on the lower end of artwork, I think. There was a couple interesting, like, spreads at the beginning with the, like, candy torn apocalypse, but I don't I don't think it ever got too much into that. Oh, I remember the ending now. The candy mech. I love mechs so much. The candy mech was so dumb. And the kind of end point where it was like, candy doesn't have to just be lollipop doesn't have to be a lollipop. It can be a mech. And it's like, what? I don't really understand what you're going for here. Or what the message is. Like, don't be set in stone. It doesn't really build up to that satisfyingly for me. All hail Popcorn Bakugo from... I don't even remember the Popcorn guy. Popcorn Explosive Power does sound cool, though. Only read one chapter of Candy Flurry and forgot about it. How the fuck do you not use a dentist in a candy manga? Exactly. Although it probably... Yeah, it didn't have long enough to get there, like Alex said. It has some stuff going for it. The candy powers could have been really cool. I don't think they went far enough with them in the time they got. I'm still annoyed about the apocalypse setting not being used. It just is a normal battle manga, and the side characters were really boring, especially like the beginner one who gets just forgotten immediately for other characters. I really don't like when manga do that, because it's like, oh, we have this character we're going to establish at the beginning, and they're going to show up like later on. I guess it's like trying to do Kobe in One Piece, except Kobe had like more time to stay around, whereas the side character in Candy Flurry was like absent after the first few chapters and like barely did anything after that. It just, I don't know. It definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I know this is going to hurt a few people. I don't like Candy Flurry. It's better than Bill King. It's probably like almost at mixed. But it's a no from me, sorry. Do you know what? We're gonna actually move Hardball Cop, because I must have called it Cop and Dolphin. Do you know what? H actually comes after G and not G before H. I'm not very good with alphabet. Putting in the same tier as Bill King makes me want to cry. I'm sorry, that's gonna happen to a few people on here. Everyone has their favorites. I know some people are gonna be angry at Bone Collection and angry at like Candy Flurry or like Bill King being low, but hopefully at least one of your favorites goes up high. And now we're gonna go to Dororon. The most recent acts, if we're not counting Gill, I believe. So Kirarazaka above. Kirarazaka's back again, his second time on the list here, with another like shortly axed manga, and this one's post World War II boxing. Was so excited to begin reading it just because of the, I guess, context it's in. Like that period of time in Japan and boxing was really interesting, and he does it kind of really well at the beginning, where he shows you kind of how horrible the war was and how the characters have to kind of pick up the pieces. I really like that. And it kind of harkens back to, I guess, a lot of boxing manga, like old boxing manga, were kind of set in that time period, I think. I could be wrong, but I remember reading up on it while I was researching for the history of Jump. It does kind of like lose itself a bit though. Like the big armed guy, everyone points and laughs at him, and like yeah, make your jerk off jokes. Like I wish I don't know, he knew what he was doing a bit more. It's such a silly design, and that being the first enemy really, I think, just alienated everyone, because it's not a standard boxing manga. It has kind of like super power elements, but they're not very cool. And then immediately the next enemy is like, oh, we're gonna go from big arm guy to crazy psychotic guy on drugs. Some interesting ideas there, but they just don't really mesh together well, I think. Alex saying, I think what I wanted out of Dororon was Master Asumi vibe in the same time period. Yeah, that's what I wanted to. I don't know if I should have expected that, though, based on the author's previous work. yeah, it just, that midsection just wasn't great. I did like how it wrapped itself up though, with him trying to fight his dad and his dad kind of being the opposite of what he used to say to him. I think that was really nice, and actually managed to end the manga in a nice way, where he fights his dad who gave him his ideals, who's now lost those ideals because of the war. And I wish that could have like been explored more, like how the war like really messed up people and kind of crunched up their ideals, and that he couldn't have a strong heart like all the time because society's horrible sometimes. And that's actually something I like seeing explored in shonen, because shonen obviously like pushes for these very idealistic states of being where you have to believe and you have to be hopeful and you have to like want to dream, but sometimes doing that all the time is really exhausting, and like you can easily just get crushed, and it taps into that a little bit, which I think is cool. And then the final chapter is such a curveball, where it's like set in present day and like, oh, here's like someone who's kind of inherited the main character's kind of will, I guess, but in a different setting and in a different sense. Just really interesting way to end the manga, and on a high note as well. I really enjoyed that chapter. I think a lot of other people did as well. Other things to say about it, the artwork in general is like fantastic, very different from Bone Collection. It's cool to see how the author just evolves his artwork. I definitely relate to him because my art changes all the time. I love the main character's design as well, just super cool, long-haired boy with boxing gloves. And then when he kind of gathers his resolve and he starts to look different in the manga, I thought that was really cool when he unlocked like his father's old technique, because suddenly he feels less cartoony and kind of a bit more angular, and just classical, I guess. Just cool artwork. I think the typography as well is like really well done. I remember, I think Finn K did the typography for English, and they talked a bit about some of it, and just how good it is. I don't know, it gave me a bit more of an appreciation for it, and I really enjoyed just that aspect as well. Like, its presentation is amazing. The end was probably where the mangaka wanted to end after a longer run. Yeah, I'm glad they must have had like the idea in mind, like this is the capstone no matter what, because it feels like it would work in a few situations. I'm glad they probably took the time to like plan. It probably would have been cool if it worked its way up to that point, but it feels weird and out of nowhere. It does feel out of nowhere, but I still like it. But yeah, if it focused more on like that family dynamic with the dad a bit more, and this idea of like, I guess this inherited heart or this inherited will, it would have stuck the landing a bit better. And Cactus actually being hyped about a Jump manga, because I remember telling him about it. Yeah, I don't know if it would be for Cactus. It's not as serious as it might have seemed at the beginning. I think I might like Bone Collection more. I think I'm gonna leave Dororon okay. I like its ending. I don't think it transcends the X in any way. I think its midsection is kind of weak, but it has some really strong artwork. I like the main character. It's gonna go in okay. I remember seeing readers think it was going to be Ippo mixed with the Grave of the Fireflies. Man, if it was going to be Ippo mixed with Grave of the Fireflies, it'd be such an interesting manga, but definitely not what Jun was going for. Cactus, I was hoping for more Tepu or Holy Land. Yeah, I'm not sure you'll really see that in Jump too much. You'll get grittier manga now and again, like with Chainsaw Man. But I'm not sure like how well a gritty sports manga, boxing manga would do now. There was a manga, I think in like 2013, I've forgotten its name. Judos, which has a really interesting concept of like a ton of, I think, martial arts people coming to like an island or like this mountainside and just beating the shit out of each other. Only like 3 chapters are translated, but I really liked what there was. It definitely reminded me of something like Kengan Ashura, or not quite Teppu, because Teppu's a bit different, but that more gritty martial arts vibe. Sadly, that's not what Dorotroy is. Dorotroy probably would have done really well in like the 70s. That might be true to Junkiro Razaka's like other work overall. Okay, we'll move on now. So, Dororon. I mentioned earlier when we talked about Ayashimon and that getting axed before it. So I may have a little disdain for Dororon. Overall, though, it is just like the most average textbook battle manga that can be. It really feels like a fake manga you'd see in like a Bakuman or Time Paradox Ghostwriter, or like you had a textbook on making manga and Dororon would be like the main example. The one thing I think it has going for it is Kusanagi, or as iPatch Wolf called it in his video, I think he called him Doron, which was really funny. Made a lot of people angry, but the relationship with him and Kusanagi was really fun. Kind of like a almost Pokemonish vibe if the Pokemon could talk. I think that was the one thing I actually really enjoyed about it. Luke, Dororon, or as I like to call it, the series where Ginchio got replaced as the main character. Every week I was like, where is she? Yeah, so Ginchio, like the same with Candy Flurry, it's like the number 2 character just suddenly disappears from the whole story. I think in Doron's case it's even more relevant because it went on for longer and she just did not appear. I really liked her design though. She had like the Chica mouth from I was gonna say Witch from Mercury, World Trigger, like that, or Suyu from My Hero Academia, the kind of V mouth. I really like characters with those mouths. But yeah, Doron just like it had some nice art at times. I think Genosuke's art's pretty neat. I actually really love his one-shot fantasies. Like people should read fantasies if you want to read anything from him. Golem Hearts is another one where it feels a bit like generic shonen, sadly. I like Doron a lot because of the Bleach vibes. Yeah, it kind of has Bleach-like vibes, I think. Especially with the kind of creatures that show up and the kind of sword skills used. It just doesn't feel particularly inspired to me. And its final, like, I want to say 20 chapters when they start introducing the villain group, I found so boring. And I was just like, please end this. Please end this. I really don't care about anyone except the creepy girl who showed up. She was kind of cool. Make a manga with her as the protagonist instead of the main guy who was just kind of fine. His design in the one shot was way cooler as well. That's another, I guess, slight against Dororon. Okay, Alex, Doron was fine. Simple battle manga. Unfortunately, you need more than that to stand out and jump, and I absolutely agree. It is just way too simple. Other than the Kusanagi premise, I just don't have much to say about it. It's just very middle of the road. The creepy girl, I liked her as a character. That's says Luke as well. I feel like most people probably liked her. Just one of the weirder characters who actually had something, I guess, interesting to them. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where to put Dororon. It's kind of firewood to me just because it's so generic, but it like lasted 40 chapters and did have a few like good ones at the beginning. Otaku-han says firewood, burn it. I'm kind of inclined to put it there though, because just like I kind of get a little frustrated with how generic it is. At least I had a proper ending. I don't really remember the ending, to be honest. I think they just kind of like beat the main guy. In like 1 chapter or something, or like 2. You know what? I'm gonna put it in firewood. I'm gonna put it above Candy Flurry because I was almost gonna put it in mixed, I think. And as you can see, the bottom tier is like slowly like being filled out. In general, I think I'm a little nicer than most when it comes to axed manga, but maybe not. Maybe I just want everything to be axed. Sorry, Luke. I'm not a fan, sadly. Except of Kusanagi. I know I can't. Like, it's almost a mixed, but I just think of it and it's just a bit too generic for me. It does one of the biggest sins of it being boring, just not doing anything new, and also it killed Ayashimon. Well, it didn't kill Ayashimon, but it lasted longer than Ayashimon. It shouldn't have. To be fair, a lot of them, yeah. I mean, most things on this list deserve to be axed. Well, that's kind of a harsh way of saying it, but like, they just didn't do well enough. They didn't sell well enough. They didn't execute their ideas well enough, and it's unfortunate, but it's how Jump works. There are a few though which probably didn't, which should have gone on longer, but we'll get to them when we get to them. Okay. I swear to God, if Earthchild isn't given its own specialty, bro. We'll see what happens with Earthchild when we get to it. But we're on double Taisei. Or what did I? Double Taisei? Whoopsie. Someone can't spell. That being me. Double Taisei is a shogi series, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm inclined to say most people in the West don't know much about shogi. I actually have played a bit of shogi. Dyslexia attack. It's funny because you spelled dyslexia wrong. I'm pretty sure. Cactus. Yeah, shogi's this board game which I don't think many people have played in the West. It's basically chess with extra steps and abilities, and it's kind of insane. I have played some shogi with my dad. It's very difficult. I find Go a lot easier, to be honest. Otaku-han, I played some shogi a long while ago, but it's too confusing and I forgot the rules. I just about remember it, I think. I might need like a quick refresher on the movement of a couple of the units, but I can probably like get to playing if someone wanted to play with me. A lot of people in the West didn't know about Go before Hikaru no Go, but it still it managed to find a nice niche audience for itself. I don't think there's any like super massive shogi series though, other than like March Comes in Like a Lion, which is as much a drama as it is about shogi. I played it once online. It was insane. Yeah, like you can put pieces down on like you've taken from the enemy on their side of the board and stuff, and there's lots of promotional rules. Every time I think about shogi, I think about March. Yeah, March is so good. Double Taisei isn't quite March Comes Like a Lion though. The main premise being the main character switches from night and day. Like there's a day personality and a night personality in the same body, and they're kind of like twin brothers, I guess. Although it's the same person, called Tai and Sei, and I think the plot revolves around them switching. So the night personality is now the day one, and the day one is now the night one. And the night one gets more involved in shogi, and I think one of them's more a defensive player, and the other one is more aggressive, kind kind of Yu-Gi-Oh-ish, which I like. I always love series where you have a kind of spiritual aspect to the main character. So like Yugi has a Tem or Yami. In Hikaru no Go, Hikaru has a Sei or Sai, and in Double Taisei you kind of have these two personalities, Tai and Sei. Hang on, Sei and Sai? Definitely probably inspired by Hikaru no Go. I think this is one I actually never finished reading, sadly. I actually want to go and read it again because I enjoy shogi much more now. I like the games. I remember the art being really nice, and there being some really weird character designs in this, like some gothy-ish girl playing shogi. Would like to check it out again. And in retrospect, I think I like it a bit more. I can't comment on like the ending or anything though, which is a bit sad. For Beast Children's case, I don't think that would have mattered, but for Double Taisei, it might have. So it's actually going to stay where it is in okay, I think. I like board game manga, or like game manga, I guess. Has some cool artwork, has some cool ideas. This one might go up or down depending on what happens when I read it. When are we getting competitive Othello manga? Hopefully one day. I hope we get another game manga at some point. That would be sick. Even like chess or something. I don't know how big chess is in Japan, but some kind of game-based manga would be super cool. Maybe, I guess Cypher is a little similar, and Akane isn't quite games, but it is, I don't know, it touches on similar ideas or feelings while also touching on sports. But I doubt many have read Double Taisei or have much to say about it, so we'll move on. Akane's more performance. It definitely has like a similar feel, I think, to works like Hikaru no Go in some ways, as well as like sports manga. It's interesting. So maybe we don't need a kind of game manga, a non-battle shonen manga. Yeah, like non-battle battle manga. Okay. Oh boy, Earthchild. Let's go. God, Earthchild. Earthchild had like a really interesting first chapter that felt like a one-shot, and everyone loved it, or like most people liked it at least. And then it just shat the bed so hard with its premise. Having like this superhero girl and regular guy who fall in love, but he's not supposed to remember her, and they have a kid. It then devolves into a story about him trying to save her with the baby, and they just keep going like back and forth to the space station to like, I remember when they had to go back to like see their grandparents and they were in the space station. It was like, what are you doing? Like, what is this plot line? And then they went into like space, and there's a part where he like takes his helmet off in space, I think, to kiss her, and I laughed so hard. It's such a dumb manga. It's so bad. What are people saying about it? Let's see. Earthchild absolutely deserves to be below Firewood. Earthchild was an interesting one-shot. Yeah, there we go. Too bad we never got more chapters after. Cactus is like, what? I'm sure I've explained Earthchild to you, Cactus. It is like, the author must have been on drugs. It's like crazy how it's written. It has like no regard for story structure. After he saves her with like the power of love, I think, by kissing her in space, literal God tries to like kill them because there can only be one Earthchild. It's just kind of insane. It's like the author had some awesome one-shot idea and then was told to make a whole series without having a plan for it. It deserves to be Thanos snapped out of existence below Firewood in the depths of hell begone. That series makes me split hairs. It's easily the worst manga in the last 5 years. It is assuredly like, it's down here. No question. I think Earthchild could have worked, but the direction just went. I have no. Yeah, like how does someone write something like Earthchild? It was so weird to see. I think at least people were laughing at it. It was like funny at least, but it was just like so incomprehensible at times. Japan should have given the volume copies to the homeless so they had something to keep up their fires. Okay, so it's definitely in this low tier. I know people might want a tier below. At least it wasn't boring. I think that's the one thing that's saving it from like having an absolutely bad tier. I do want to say like there is a big gap between, I think, Our Blood Oath. I actually think Our Blood Oath's a bit worse. There's a big gap between Beast Children and Earthchild here. I don't know if I'm gonna make another tier just because we don't have that many manga, but these two are by far like much worse than the contemporaries here. Maybe we'll make another tier if we have too many manga. We'll see. But they're just nonsensically really bad stories. Earthchild had some nice artwork at least, but it's still like incomprehensible at times. Really big poo-poo. The author's other works I also don't like very much, which I'll touch on in the eventual Earthchild Axe file. Let's keep moving though. Let's go to Fabricant 100, one of the newer axes. Okay, Fabricant 100. We got the fourth and fifth volume covers today. Absolute masterpieces. This author can fucking draw. Like, all of the volumes look sick. There's a couple which are like just good, and then like number like 1, 4, and 5, maybe like 3 as well. Just absolutely amazing volume covers. The last one in particular, like, man, I kind of want that on my shelf. I'm not gonna buy it though because I've got no room. Artwork can only get you so far looking at Red Hood, absolutely, but I'm definitely going to comment on artwork because I'm a big artist. What do we got? Dropped it 3 chapters. Does it actually get good? A lot of people really liked Fabricant 100. Okay, Fabricant 100 like has some really interesting ideas, with the main character's kind of family being chomped up by fabricants who are what's a better word than fabricant? They're kind of like, no, I don't know if there is any, like flesh golems. They're essentially like Frankenstein's monsters, and there's 100 of them, where the scientists try to create a human life, I guess, but their only pejorative is like they want to become human life, and to do so they want to consume other humans. There's some homunculus. Yeah, that's a better word, I think. Mid. I don't think it's quite mid for me. There's some good ideas here. I'm a big fan of Frankenstein, and it kind of taps into that a little bit. I wish it tapped into it more though, or had the time to tap into it more. It just kind of meanders a bit, and it uses too many like shonen tropes. Like, here's the good guy organization who are kind of boring and they don't get fleshed out enough, and the characters they introduce later on just don't get enough time to shine. The relationship between the main character Yo and number 100 is really interesting though, because she wants to protect him, except she just wants to eat him, which she's only allowed to do after she's killed all the other fabricants. So there's a cool dynamic there, which I think does kind of get paid off nicely toward the end, and we're getting a bonus chapter, so maybe there's even more cool stuff later on. Generally though, I don't know how many of the bonus chapters get translated into English, at least officially, so I haven't read a lot of them. I like her design from the one-shot more, says Alex, and I 100% agree. I forget what the monster they're going for. Is it Kujisaki Onna or something? Or am I thinking of a different yokai or Japanese thing, but the kind of wide hat brimmed lady in Japanese folklore or urban legend is such a cool like creature, and that's what the one shots design was like. And they gave her like a Bo Peep hat in the series, and it just looks so silly. Like she looked so menacing in the one shot, and I think that's what they needed to go with more. She looked like Lady Demetresque from Resident Evil 8, just super cool and spooky. But yeah, that put me off a bit. The design there. It had some cool stuff later on. It had some really nice artwork as well. It just kind of, I don't know. It didn't do it for me wholly. Although I understand why people like it. I'm actually gonna put it in mixed, but kind of high. Yeah, I wish this one was better. I'm glad it got to last a while, but it should have done more in the time it had. Okay. Oh boy, Ginka and Glüna. I'm gonna pop that there. Ginka and Glüna. Another newish one. Ginka and Glüna is so fast-paced. It is pretty quick, pretty brisk, especially at the beginning and at different points. That's my probably biggest criticism of it, is its pacing is a little wild, and sometimes you just get pages where I'm not 100% sure what's happening. Okay, we're back. Okay, Ginka and Glüna. Koba 1 likes it a lot. I actually like it a lot too. We'll get into that in a sec. Breakneck speed. Parts of breakneck speed. Parts of it are like a bit too quick, and other parts have the kind of appropriate pacing, I think. As characters, like, I really like Luna. I think you're meant to say it like Luna and not Glüna. She's really cool. I like how you see her at the beginning, because it kind of starts as she's much younger. I wish that like beginning segment was extended though, because you would have learned a bit more about her and understood her kind of isolation more, and her meeting Ginka would have hit harder. They do kind of retroactively make it better, I think, at the end, which I'll talk about in a bit. But I would have liked the beginning to be a bit better, and a lot happens at the beginning, and it's kind of cool, but also like, whoa, we're going way too fast. Some of the side characters they introduced are interesting. They're not the best though, although I do like Ginka and Glüna. Ginka's a really fun character who's like a crazy wizard who's been turned into a snowman. He's kind of rude to everyone. Just kind of a fun presence. At the beginning, Luna was so much more interesting than the world around it. Yeah, I kind of agree. Although the world does kind of, it gets some interesting stuff added to it as it goes on. There's like some crazy monsters and structures and things. If it had the time to like really delve into that more, I think it would have been like this magic ravaged world. Having a distinct setting like that would have been really cool. If it slowed down, it could have been really good, but how some series end, I don't blame them for making the choice to jump to more exciting parts of the story. Yeah, so that's a big thing I saw people discussing about it, was that it's moving too fast because it's too scared of getting axed. It's just a shame. It's like this dichotomy where if you go too slow, you don't get enough out there, and you could be axed for being slow, or you just don't get a finish in a nice way. And if you go too fast, you could be rushing through stuff and people just don't enjoy the story, or you just rush through kind of plot crucial events or some nice development you could have had. It's just sad, like you don't get both. Guess it's a guessing game for rookies as well, where they don't quite know how they stand on that scale. Like how do they start their manga? Do they go too fast or too slow? And Ginka really suffers from that, or G&G. The library fight with the creepy woman who messes with, I think, people's bodies and turns them into things, a bit like the Ayashimon protagonist, I guess. She was really cool. Really liked that fight. I thought it was paced quite well. That's when the manga started to slow down. And then you had a couple arcs. I mean, you had the arc where they got lost underground. I wasn't too fond with. I think that was before all this. And then you had the arc kind of in the tower with the guy who was trying to sacrifice the whole village, which I really liked, and the way they kind of moved from regular story arc into the ending, I thought was okay. There was some really good like final chapters of Ginka and Glüna, especially like the last like one or two, when you kind of find out more about the magic system, where you have to, I think, sacrifice. I'm not sure. Like, Witch Watch basically just did the same thing. Like, slight spoilers. I'll be a bit vague about it. But Ginka and Glüna kind of did it before, where the cost for the magic, for like this ultimate magic attack, was like all of Luna's memories and all of her experiences. And I thought they did that really well, and it was quite powerful. And it's like, what I liked most about it was the ending wasn't that, like in the next chapter, oh, we're going to quickly give her back her memories so everyone's happy at the end of the day. It was more like, oh, she's lost these for good, but we're still her friends and we still love her, so we're going to make new memories with her. And there was this kind of real feeling of hope there for me, where it was like, no, this thing is gone, like the tragic thing has happened and we're going to acknowledge that, but we're going to still look towards the future with like a nice hope to it. So it's definitely one of the more memorable endings to me for an Axe manga. I think that wizard was the one that made people didn't like G&G admit that it had potential. Yeah, the creepy wizard, well, both creepy wizards, I think, definitely showed that it had some potential. And Witch Watch mentioned a win. Yeah, I really want to talk about Witch Watch at some point. Although Crash is making a video on it, so it's getting some love. So that's good. But Ginka and Glüna, sadly, unlike Witch Watch, which is still alive, is dead. It's been axed. Which is a shame, because I really liked it, and I think it could have done a lot more with its premise. Its art was really nice as well. I just really liked the art style, personally. Where do I put this one? Oh boy. I kind of want to put it in good, but I don't actually think it's like amazingly good. The ending is carrying it for me, and some of those pacing issues were really bad at the beginning, so I'm gonna leave it here in okay. And we're gonna move on to another witch series. Mentioning wizards and witches, we have Guardian of the Witch, which is the lost sibling of Undead Unluck and Mashal, that quickly died. Rest in peace. Guardian of the Witch is a weird one, where a lot of people didn't like it, and I'll admit it didn't do things very well, but I actually really liked the setting it had. It was kind of a desolate-ish, I think it was modeled after the UK, desolate-ish kingdoms, like where you had these big cities but nothing in between, because there were like these evils roaming the countrysides. And then you have witches who are kind of responsible for them, and Manfasa's one of them, and I think they think witches are turning into evils. It's been a really long time since I read it. So you have this kind of hunted story where you have the main character who's protecting Manfasa, the other main character who's a witch, which I tend to like those stories, but it just, I don't know, it kind of fumbled the bag a lot. A lot of people didn't like the first major fight. I think I kind of did. I thought the metal power the enemy used was cool. I liked just some of the artwork in general and how Manfasa and the male main character interacted. Some of the stuff later on wasn't as good, and I think it ended on a really kind of meh note. Like, I don't think it ended at all, really. It was one of those journey continues kind of endings. Artwork's cool. I like the Manfasa a lot. Her design and her hair in particular I found really cool. I put a lot of effort into the little jump doodle I did of her one time, I remember. The artist is an assistant of Tabata, or at least was. I don't recall remembering anything they've done recently, sadly. But I'd love to look into it in an X-File one day. Not too much to say about it, though. It's one of the older ones. I think Mashal and Undead Unluck were probably the better two of the three of the group. I don't absolutely hate this, though. I don't want to put it in Firewood, because I just like the setting and the art style, and some of the ideas here. Completely understand if people would put it in Firewood, though, because it's fairly forgettable, especially based on the lack of comments. I don't think anyone's read it, or if they have, they just have nothing to say about it. Okay, I got nothing. Yep, nope, no one read it. Okay, Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin. I bet a few people have something to say about this one, though. Cactus has more to say about Guardian of the Witch. Oh, please, Cactus, tell us about your favorite Jump series. Or maybe he's talking about Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, which I'm gonna try to do after the Time Paradox Ghostwriter video, because so many people just came out and expressed their love for the series, and I thought it'd be interesting to read through again. I definitely really enjoyed it at the beginning. I thought the artwork was nice. I really enjoyed the setting, being like a Okinawa-esque, like small island off the coast of Japan, I think. Had just really cool vibes. And then obviously Orpheus being a dolphin man, like, is such a cool little first chapter twist / gimmick. And it's this gag manga at the beginning with the main character. I think his surname is Shakanetsu, and he's known as Shark. And then Dolphin, and then this little kid they have to look together. I guess alternative title: My Two Gay Dads, and one of them is Dolphin. I don't know. It could be funny. Flipper X Miami Cop. Maybe something like that. Sure, if it was American. I just really liked the vibes it had early on. Really enjoyable. And then it transforms into more of a regular battle manga. Although the setting is under the sea, which is really interesting. Wish they kind of did more with that. It's kind of like if all the villains were fishmen from One Piece, I guess. I don't know what else to say about it. It had some big ideas. The kind of flashback arc at the end was pretty interesting. I did enjoy that. Although the overall ending, I was a bit mixed on, because they just throw so many characters into the mix, which you just don't have time to just understand their motivations or actually like them. It just muddled things a bit for me. I actually thought they were characters from a different series, Tamura May or something, because of some reactions. I think it was just similar character designs. Yeah, people enjoyed it more than me for sure. BoJack Horseman battle manga sounds really bad. I haven't watched BoJack, but sure. This one's okay though. Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, it's solid enough for me. I wish it went on a bit longer, had a bit more time to flesh things out, because it probably could have ended a bit nicer if it had maybe 60 chapters, 70 chapters or something. As it was playing around with some pretty cool ideas. But yeah, I don't actually have much to say about it, to be honest. I probably will have more when I reread it and make the X-Files vid. I'm gonna put it in okay. Put it above Double Taisei, think I like Dororon a bit more personally. Okay. Oh boy. High School Family, man. Ooh. Totsugeki indeed. I'm gonna have so many Totsugeki jokes in the Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin video. Or I'll try to anyway. High School Family is a series that would have worked better if it was high school siblings and it was focused strictly on the sibling and the little girl was smarter than the brother and it drove him insane. It's from Luke. Alex says, I still miss Gomez the cat. Otaku-han says, High School Family is pure firewood. Koao didn't like it but do respect it, especially Gomez. Lots of Gomez love there. I've really enjoyed High School Family. It was a nice little gag manga. I think it shouldn't have been axed. It was axed like with P6 basically. So it was kind of 2 back-to-back axes, which really hurt people. I found it pretty funny. Like obviously with gag manga, some elements are gonna be hit and miss. Even more so with this one because each member kind of has their own gags / stuff. The dad having like a sports volleyball part, the daughter having shogi, and gags are involving her like age and height and stuff, and then the son having a bit more traditional story, but obviously his family's in school with him and that's kind of the main gag, and then Gomez just has kind of absolutely wild ones. And then the mothers are kind of forgotten, which is sad. High School Family is a series I tried to love, but I just found so weird as a concept. Yeah, it's weird. I think that's what makes it funny, though. It's absurd, and it leans into that absurdism. And as a fan, I think you tend to lean into it as well. And that's why so many people just love Gomez, because he's a goofy fella. I slept on High School Family. I'm so upset I didn't give it a chance until much later. But yes, the High School Family, Axe, and P6 both came out of nowhere. Absolutely, just like died. That was this year, yeah. I can't believe they just ended so quickly, especially High School Family, because it clearly had more gas in it. I think they were maybe wrapping up the second year, and then they just skipped on to their graduation, which was sad. Like, if it lasted another round, like, and they had the heads up, I feel like it could have had a bit more satisfying of an ending. And we were getting some really cool stuff as well with the main character's kind of love life, because there was like 2 girls interested in him, and he's obviously gonna only end up with one. There was some nice stuff with the dad as well, and the volleyball team, and him not being like as young as he used to be, and kind of like almost breaking his back. What other comments we got? I hated it from the beginning, gave it 20 chapters and stopped. Fair enough. Like, gag manga isn't for everyone. We'll get to some polarizing gag mangas as we go on tonight. I like Gomez though. The cat was cute. Yeah, Gomez was cute. Gomez had some really funny chapters as well, like his relationship with the principal, and the whole like gang war stuff with Gomez was great. Both series deserve better proper endings. Every Gomez chapter was fire. When Gomez adopted another cat, like what the heck? That was pretty funny. And yeah, the whole delinquent stuff. Legalize polygamy in Jumps so that MCs don't have to suffer. Yeah, I was really interested to see how that would go. Like, how are you going to do this? Because they make both of the girls kind of nice and sympathetic. Like, I don't know, like what's going to happen to the like the nerdy one? I can't remember what happened fully. I don't think anything concrete really happened at the ending. Dolphin's only an okay. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Dolphin. I think it's solid though. Like, the ending for me was a little rushed. It just had too many elements in it. But if people put it in Transcends the Axe, I would like be fine with it. It's definitely one people love a ton. We Never Learn and Isekai would be really different series. I mean, okay, I'm not going to get into the We Never Learn tangent. That could last a while, and I have a ton of manga to go. High School Family, though, absolute like treasure. I really want to put it in Transcends the Axe, but I don't think it does, simply because the Axe absolutely destroyed it. And it's sad to me. Like, because of it, the Axe, it just makes me sad when I think of it. High School Family should be in Transcend. Okay, I think I can do it for Gomez. Do you know what? I'll do it for Gomez. It doesn't go higher than a Gravity Boys for me, but we'll put it there. I think it does transcend X because it did go past 100 chapters. To be fair, not many like clear axes do that, unless you're like Siren, I guess. Possibly debatable if that was axed. I can't remember. That's for a different tier list though. High School Family and Good feels right. Instead of Roboco being the gag face of Jump, it should have been Gomez. Gomez transcends the axe. Top of the list for sure. Okay, we'll leave it there. I think I agree with people. It deserves to be there. Oh boy. Oh, we get to Gill. If I make this into a video, I'm gonna get some comments maybe. Unless Gill's axed by then. Okay, so Gill's still ongoing. We don't know how it's gonna end, but based on how things are going, and based on the fact that Gill is the best with axes, it's gonna have a crazy axed ending, and by that I mean it's probably gonna be really underwhelming and rushed. I want to love this series, but the fights are so boring. Yeah, they are. They don't have very good choreography. It usually just revolves around Gill shouting like one spin caribou hunting. It just really boring, and it's sad because I really like the icy setting, the Viking aesthetic. His weird goth mum at the beginning was cool, although that first chapter was really rushed. The side character's not doing it for me, to be honest, and by the time we got the first one, we went to the forest arc, which was just blitzed by, and like I think in one chapter we had a character like lose their arm and then get it back, or it was like the chapter before. Just like the pacing is insane, and now where we're at, where we have like all of the characters assembling in one place, and it just feels like they came out of nowhere, and we learn that we need the kind of earth, water, wind, and fire people or something, and we already have 3 of them, and we just need the fire one, which is the main enemy. Like I don't know what's happening. It's taken so many steroids. It's going too fast. It's a meme that transcends the axe and manga. Just let him catch the axe with his face, says Cactus. I think that's what's gonna happen. Viking Norse inspired series sounds interesting. Gill is Hunter x Hunter done wrong. That's what I think about it, because Gill reminds me of Gon. They both start with G's. They're both little kids who are really fun and have weird spiky hair, and they're trying to find their dad. But I said Gill just isn't as interesting, and it's just rushed, sadly, which is sad. There's a man called Giant Arm, and his arm isn't particularly giant, so it cannot be above Dora Try. It's definitely not going above Dora Try. Okay, things I like about Axehead Gill though, I really like Gill's design. He's just so weird. His hair is very interesting. He's a happy boy. I like his clothes as well, very blue. The power he gets, and it being a water-based power, but the world of I forget what it's called. It's called like giant ice or something. Because it's in an ice world, it becomes an ice power, and the water surrounding him becomes ice, and he becomes Icehead Gill. I think that's cool. The overall art style is just cute. I like it. It does suffer in parts of being a little janky, but I really want to see the this author come back with something else later on. And then the fact that it's an adventure series in modern day, I'm a bit sad. Like, they just don't do very well because they just can't be sustained, I guess. So people just don't find them as interesting anymore. It's a bit sad. But it's just not good. Like, currently, in good conscience, I can't put it very high. Design and art are solid, I agree. Oh boy, I said Gill. Where do I put you? Oh, man, you were like, the thing with I said Gill is like it doesn't transcend the axe. It's also not the worst thing ever either, so it kind of flops with its idea that Gill is the best at axes, which I guess makes it even worse. I just don't know if I can put it in mix, to be honest. It's just not good. I do like it a bit more than Dororon though, so I might put it there. And I'll just give people a sec if they want to say a eulogy for Gill or one more thing before we move to Itel C. I like it, and I think it deserves firewood. I think I'm in the same camp. I kind of like I said Gill. I think it's bad. It's not good. Rest in peace, Gill. Okay. And moving on to Itel C, which is a polarizing one. It's a mystery detective series involving the main character who falls in love with her culprits, or the culprit of the cases. I said Gill is the king of axes. Yeah, he's at the top of firewood. There we go. King of firewood. Firewood, it's a 1 out of 10 at best. Easily one of the worst series I've read. Yeah, I think it goes in firewood then. It stays there. That's a nice place for it. And then Kawao saying, Itel C, I can fix her. I haven't read the series yet. Yeah, she's definitely a character you could say that for, and I think that's what she says to all of the crazy people she falls in love with. I like the idea, though, of her falling in love with the criminals to kind of, I guess, get a sense of them. I kind of appreciate it a bit more, actually, now that I've watched 2 seasons of Millennium, which is something I'd love to talk about one day on the channel. It's an old kind of detective thriller series created by Chris Carter and some of the people behind X-Files. But this way of like profiling, of trying to get into the serial killer's heads, she kind of does that in an interesting way where she tries to fall in love with them. So I think that idea, which some people kind of dismiss like very quickly, is actually really clever in some ways, and I find really interesting. We have a few comments. Itel C is basically Diet Kindergarten Wars, with its main character basically being Riku from Kindergarten Wars. I've only read a little bit of Kindergarten Wars. I don't remember any similarities, to be honest. Skyzade, Itel C genuinely made me break down and have a tantrum because of how stupid the ending to the intro arc was. Almost made me give up on the manga. That sounds like something I would like to experience, to be honest. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Itel C. I actually really enjoy it. I think it's very goofy, and the main character's silly. I don't actually remember like too much about it, only like fragmented bits, like the concept overall. I know you have these 2 brothers who are kind of the side characters, who are kind of interesting, and there's a twist that isn't the best, to be honest. But I'm kind of a little baffled they went there. The arc with the thief was actually really fun, I think. I really enjoyed it. And the final arc as well, I can't quite remember the circumstance behind it. I think it involved like a bombing or something with like a puzzle in Jump itself, which you could solve. Kind of the precursor to Cypher Academy, I guess. I really like that aspect as well, but it kind of just ends on this random case, which I guess isn't the worst, because it's going for that more kind of mystery files thing, where each arc is a different mystery that needs to be solved. If you're into BDSM, then I highly recommend. I mean, a lot of people are, so sure. Itel C is fine. Definitely weird out a lot of people from its premise alone. Yeah, it definitely did. I really like his premise, though. I think it's very interesting. I like Dead Tube and Freak Island. I'm guessing they're both stupid, or you have bad taste and are into suffering as a positive with the experience. I think I've read a bit of Dead Tube. I don't know if I'd compare them too much, to be honest. Like, it's not that dark. It is Jump, so yeah. But the premise is weird. A lot of people don't like it, but I just do. I don't think I'm gonna go too crazy with it. I'm gonna keep it in okay, though. I don't know if I can. I don't know where it would go. I'm gonna put it below Hardboiled and Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin. But above Double Taisei. It's one that I'd like to cover on the Axe Files. They knocked out the serial killer and left him with a knife instead of arresting him. They were police officers. Okay, maybe they're stupid. Yeah, that plot point isn't great. Still, though, it's one I like a lot. I'm gonna leave it okay. Granted, though, I understand if you dislike it, because there's some iffy stuff. Also, the volume cover is really nice. That's one more thing. Now, character seems confused. It is a very confusing manga. And if you don't like me for my Itel C take, oh boy, I don't know if you're gonna like me for this Ichigaki take. I really like Ichigaki's Under Control. I think it's really funny. I don't think Crash even liked Ichigaki's, which surprised me because he liked Shugomaru. I think as soon as like the gorilla shows up in chapter 1 and just kills the main character, I laughed so hard. It just is my style of comedy. What's her name? Come on, I remember her name. Why can't I remember her name? The main female character. Hopefully the name will get back to me. It's like Masayomi. Oh man, I love her design so much, and she's such a fun character. She reminds me of Maya Fey from Ace Attorney. Relevant because we have Ace Attorney music playing. She's just so fun and comes up with these crazy ideas. And Ichigaki is the straight man who also kind of leans into it from time to time as well. And their relationship I really enjoy a ton. We have some messages. I didn't like it and I don't respect it, but the artist sure knows how to draw shoes. Oh yeah, he's good at drawing shoes. I don't have a lot of positives for Ichigaki, so I'll just say this. The gorilla in the first and last chapters was poetic. Yeah, I like that the gorilla showed up again. It was really funny. Mangaka of Gintama kill main character of other manga? Nice. Yeah, Sorachi comes in and just kills the main character. The humor is like absurd, but mixed in with, I guess, Doraemon style gadget humor. I haven't read Doraemon, but I think that's what it's about. Some of the side characters are wild, like Flower, the delinquent guy who likes flowers, and the student council president who falls in love with Ichigaki. I liked her a bunch, and she would just chase them around and had basically zombie students chasing them. There were some funny chapters, like them having an after high school meetup, and there's just a bunch of characters you've never met before. I really like that gag. I think it's really funny. And the overall, we have to collect the like 3 testicle Dragon Balls thing at the end was so dumb. I really enjoyed it. And they have a wedding, and just like Bone Collection, I really loved it. And I think the main characters looked super cool and pretty, and it just wrapped everything up really nicely for me. It being one of my favorite manga from Jump, I'm gonna really annoy people with this. I really like Ichigaki's Under Control. Also, the volume covers are sick, especially the second one. Okay, I see we have nobody watching the stream anymore. No, I'm joking. This is like my most indulgent, like, personal take, for sure. I love Ichigaki's Under Control so much, even though it got axed like really quickly. Public Enemy #1 right there. Like, everybody has at least like one batshit insane like axe manga they're allowed to love. I think Ichigaki's mine. Let's keep things moving with Magu-Chan. Just covered this on the channel in its axe files. Just such a sweet little series, which I really took for granted while it was in Jump. I really wanted it gone for some reason because it just wasn't very interesting to me. It just wasn't doing much. But that's kind of the point. It's a slice of life manga with gags. I'd say it's more slice of life than gags. And the whole Pokemon thing with all the little evil gods was really sweet and cool. People saying anything? I'll never hate on gag manga because I respect the different sense of humor. Shugomaru is an exception, though. We'll get to Shugomaru. It's one of the ones I don't like very good. Very much, though. Nice video. Wasn't sure if I was going to bother reading it. Now I think I will. I think manga's worth it. If you want something kind of a bit sweet and kind of gag and slice of lifey, it's a nice little read. And its ending is really good. Like... It's a series. Oh, we're at Turnabout Sisters again. Let's go. It's a series where it didn't feel like it got axed. It did its course and then had like a really, really nice ending. I'm actually gonna put it. Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Gravity Boy. No, I'm not. I like a Gravity Boy's penis arc more. It just had a really nice ending. It makes me really happy to think about now, and I'm really glad I made the video on it. I like cozy manga. It's very cozy, I think. I had a fun time. I didn't reread it all, but I reread some chapters, and it was nice. A lot of people like Magu. Yeah. Remember, a lot of readers were disappointed. Ooh. I mean, people were sad it was going to end, but I think most people really liked the ending. Magu doing crazy good on What You Want animated Paul was a surprise. Yeah, that was cool to see as well. I think that would have been a really nice animated like series for kids manga. For kids manga? Kids anime, kids manga? I don't know. Like I said in the video, I think it brought something interesting to Jump. It could have brought in younger readers, which is always good. Although I don't know if you want younger readers in the same magazine as like Ayakashi Triangle. Although ecchi manga's been in there for years. That's like a whole gag in Roboco is Bondo isn't allowed to read To Love Ru Darkness. But yeah, just a really sweet manga. I don't know if I'm going to say much more on it because I did just make the video on it, which you can watch. Woohoo! Magu merch would have gone crazy though, which is probably partly why it stuck around so long. Yeah, I think there was a bit of merch towards the end. There were definitely like, I think little plushes of at least Magu and Naputaku, and some like cool other little bits. Really cool to see, to be honest. Okay, I'm glad everyone's positive on Magu. Oh boy, man. This is a weird one. Matama Security, another gag manga. Another one I actually haven't read all of. Did anyone read Matama Security? Well, apparently Skyzates is Transcends. It's another one I just have not read all of. Like one of the, I want to say 2019 ones, where I read like a good chunk of it, but fell behind and never wanted to catch up. I think it did end up getting like a decent number of chapters though. Like, in the 40 range. Kawao read one chapter, loved it, dropped it. Matama Security said it's one of the worst things in existence and evolved into one of the best things in existence. And 47, okay. So it lasted about a year, which is pretty good. The general premise I found kind of fun. I really like Matama from what I remember. The basketball gags were kind of funny. But again, I just haven't read I think the bulk of the series, to be honest. Although I remember a lot of people liking it quite a bit. I don't know if I can put it in Transcends, though, just because I haven't read it all. But I don't remember it being particularly bad. I remember it being funny, which is what a gag manga should be. So it's probably going to stay in the middle here. Sky Zid is Matama's strongest soldier. Do you know what? I'll move it up, just because we have some... The only thing someone said about it in the chat is positive, at least. Well, yeah, we'll move it up a bit. One of the only series to make me physically roll around laughing during one chapter. Okay. That's a good sign. I'm definitely going to have to make a video on this at some point just to reread. Before Gravity chats, we had Chad Tama Security. Let's go. Yeah. Kind of a forgotten one, though. Out of like all of these, it's probably one of the least read ones. Same goes for the next one as well, which is Mori King. I don't think as many people have read Mori King. Definitely trying to finish it. Okay, yeah, I want to get back to Matama at some point. I remember liking the general premise of Mori King. General premise is interesting, where you have the like 4 or 5 bug lords trying to become like the Mori King, I think it was, the bug king. But then you had like this grown man or grown male boy person bug being looked after by like a 6-year-old kid, which sometimes was very funny and sometimes just was kind of weird. There were a few characters I kind of liked. I think his sister was kind of funny because she was like the straight man or woman of the group, but I rarely found it funny, and its later arcs were just kind of boring. Couldn't get into Mori King. The gag seemed a bit too repetitive, but I only read a few chapters. Our bugs look like bugs in Yakuza. It's kind of like that, yeah. It's like Mesu King. So, but instead of being sexy girls, they're just... I mean, there's a couple different ones. So, like, the main character's male. There's a buff Yakuza one. I think there's, like, a couple female ones. It's not particularly exciting in any way, though. This sounds like Magu-Chan, but the chapters I read weren't funny. Like, similar-ish to Magu-Chan, where you have... like a child and then their weird older coded thing they look after, but Magu-Chan is actually really sweet and cute, and Mori King is just kind of weird. Good covers. I do like the first cover. I don't remember the other covers though. I'm sure they're like as good. This author's a bit of a weird one. I know they've done a few other things. Spring Weapon #1 being one of their biggest successes, which like did okay in Jump as far as I'm aware, but I don't think that ever got translated into English, or if it does, the chapters are kind of lost because I could never find them. But as to where I'm gonna put it, I actually think it's kind of trash. I really didn't enjoy it week to week. I'm actually gonna put it not below Earthchild, because Earthchild kind of sucks, as does Ablad Oath. I forgot about Spring Weapon 1-1, didn't realize it was by the same guy. I'm pretty sure it is. I think there's like one of the manga that guy did, Yokonohara Jin. That's another one that doesn't have a translation. I think it was him. Alex has to step away. I'll be back. Okay. Hopefully we don't miss too much fun stuff. I mean, we're gonna go to Nero, so yeah, Koi no Cupid Yakunohara Jin, I think is the full name or something. At least I don't remember finding any translated chapters of that either, and I don't think it lasted very long. Okay, Naru. Naru feels like a manga that was released in the 70s or 80s, but it was actually released in 2022? 2021? 2021. I could be wrong. I really wanted to like Naru, and I kind of like the character of Naru, but Naru is kind of a bit of a nothing series. I don't know. There's like this weird martial arts school where they do lots of different things like archery and other stuff, and Naru is a bit of a prodigy, and I think he wants to be the best martial artist, or like use his martial art to honor his family. There was some weird characters towards the end. Had some nice art. Naru had the ideas and some of the vision, but the world building and story was non-existent. Yeah, it felt particularly weak in its structure. Just they went to the school, they got accepted into the school. Question mark, profit. Kind of felt like the idea there, but they never got to the profit. It was just, we're going to interact with some characters in the school, but there just was no drive, I feel, for anything, and the characters weren't spectacular either, so it just kind of flopped. I don't know. My biggest question for Nero is, what's the point of the school? How does it relate to the world? It's kind of just there for convenience sake, and then the school wasn't fleshed out that well either. Yeah, absolutely. Like, the cool girl showed up who I really liked, actually, now that I'm remembering things. Like, always enjoy a cool, like, punch girl. And was like, hey, come to this school. It's like, okay. But then the school just, like Skyzoid said, why does it exist? And it doesn't really relate to the protagonist in any way other than he gets to improve his martial arts. I don't know, there was like no overarching, I guess, a villain, I think, or I guess main plot there, and I think that's probably what killed it. Nothing to like grab onto. Kind of sad because it had some cool ideas, and it's a really loud car or bike. I don't know if I want to put it in firewood. Like, it kind of should be there because it really did nothing with its premise, but I do really like its art, and the fact that it tried to make a story like it did, like 30 years after stories like this were popular, I feel. I don't know. It should have gone full crazy like Kenichi or something. Yeah, it should have really leaned into just the craziness, the zaniness, or had like some big stuff happening earlier on, like screw the school, it gets attacked by a group of crazy martial artists who beat the shit out of everyone, including the new friends Nero makes, and Nero sees them as better martial artists than him and he wants to fight them or something. Something like that would have been cool, but instead we just got weird martial artists in the school kind of being violent towards each other. The more I think about it, the more I think it kind of sucks. I'm sorry, Nero. I'm gonna put you below Gill. Okay. I'm gonna move on to a big one here. P6. PPPPPP. Another one I made a video on. Another really well-loved one. Where did we start? Oh boy. Easily Transcend. Ooh, I know people love P6 like so much. It is. I really hated the art style of P6. I'm just gonna call it P6. P6 has very weird art. I really admire Polo's art style though. It's just bizarre. it's insane to me that he was accepted into Jump, I guess. At the beginning, it was pretty rough, I think, a bit touch and go with some of the paneling especially. But later on, he gets like really crazy with it. I actually I haven't read any Tsubame yet, and I really need to, because there's a couple chapters out now, and one came out today, and I want to see his art again. I honestly believe P6 would have worked better as an anime. Even Cactus says he likes the art style of P6. Damn. The start was rough. So when Lucky opens up with "I've got to poop," I was like, oh what? Oh no, I don't like this. Which says something, because Saga, my favorite comic, literally opens with a poop joke too. Tsubame proves that Mapolo is on at least 7 different kinds of hard drugs. That's what I want to hear. He just needs to go crazy from the beginning, and Magical Girl crazy sounds like the right type of crazy. Kawao, it has a lot of flaws, but Mapolo 3 himself is what makes P6. Yeah, I think it's definitely more authorial. He definitely makes it special with the way he approaches things. Wasn't a massive fan of it at first. I think is it Reijiro, the first one? That arc's okay, but then it starts getting better with Mimin, and I really enjoyed the 4v4 piano battle. That was like the peak of P6 to me. So good, and it reaches the chapter where their mother passes away, and it's really emotional, and it really stings, and it feels really weird for Jump. Like I said in the video, like the main character's dream is like crushed like so hard at that point. And then the manga gets weird. It starts focusing on other characters. Like, I really find it that like the chapter after the death, I think it focuses on Fanta and the girl character who we see at the beginning, and it feels like some weird cuck thing where like he's like, "Hey baby girl, you should join me or something and become a composer for me," or I don't know. The way he influences her is really weird, and like if it just after that last chapter, it really made me feel like odd. And then the following chapters mostly focus on other characters, building up to the conclusion. I don't know if building up is the right word there. What else do we have here? Very weird comparison, but after the mother passes away, it feels like the anime tacked up Destiny. Tacked up rings a bell. I don't know if I've seen it though. Cactus, we can't skip the cuck arc. We can't.
That just makes you a beta cuck.
Yeah, I don't know why it makes me feel like that. It's just such a weird chapter to follow the death of his mother. I think it does try to say some really like poignant things about grief, especially with how quickly and abruptly the mother dies. And then the ending is so bizarre. It definitely feels like there's so much anger to it from my eyes. Like, Mapolo is very angry he didn't get to end his series in the way he wants. And he tries to show you like some of his ideas, I think, with the Dawn chapters and then the backstory of Dada. Like, they're just slotted in at the end. It's definitely like, oh, I only have a few chapters left. I want to show this. And then we just get the final chapter where Lucky goes Dark Lucky and slaps his dad in the face. It's such a weird ending for me. We have Ronimus Prime with a ton of emojis. What's up? We are talking about P6 currently. Kawao, I definitely didn't appreciate P6 enough because I never imagined it would get cancelled. I definitely thought it would get cancelled way earlier than it did, and definitely not when it was getting cancelled. It was hard to believe it was going to end, because it was like, how can it end? Like, the mother's just died and we're focusing on side characters. Like, what? This isn't anywhere near ending. Plus we have 2 characters left to look at, like the 2 other siblings, and we never even get to Shikato, I think, is her name. Like, I didn't remember her name until I looked it up, and I remember it now because I wrote it down in the script. It had a random popularity boost and then stagnated quickly. Thought it would get cancelled earlier. Yeah, same here. It's interesting, and it ended in a weird place. We should probably try to move on though, because I've made a whole video about this one. I know some people really want to see it up here, but there's something weird about the ending for me with P6. I think I'm going to put it in good because there's enough really interesting stuff. And I think the ending is, on one hand, like really interesting and unique. And on the other hand, it's a literal slap in the face to like that's my mouse, the readers. Which makes me kind of sad. Like, wow, you ended this in a really mean way. No, I'm gonna leave it Bone Collection above it. I love Bone Collection. Might anger a few people, but so be it. I think P6 is high enough there. Oh boy, Phantom Seer. This is one I'm definitely gonna make an axe file on eventually. It's a very, I guess, loved one. It angers me, but I respect your opinion. It's in good at least. Okay at best. Oh wow. Oh, for Phantom Seer. We can't expect much from an Ichigaki fan. A lot of misconception about Phantom Seer. It had 100,000 circulation for sure, but didn't sell a lot of the volumes that were in circulation. I don't know too much about sales, to be honest, but that's kind of interesting because I know it sold like decently, or at least that's what the narrative around it was at the time. Without the art, no one would care about Phantom Seer. Kind of agree, to be honest. Its art's like really good though, especially the horror stuff. I almost picked it as a manga I wanted to talk about for the spooky video, but I feel like what it does with its art is kind of similar to Muyo and Roji, but Muyo and Roji is a bit more stylized, and I want to blast that manga more because I love it to bits. So truly ended as firewood. Truly, that might be a mistake, or are we talking about Phantom Seer? They overprinted it. Volume 1 sold decently, but Volume 2 didn't grow at all, which was the problem. Okay, I'll try to remember that for the X-Files vid, that it was overprinted. I still like it. It has really good artwork. The premise is cool. Would have liked to see it done, like, executed a little better, and maybe they should have brought in the antagonist faction earlier, because the antagonist seemed pretty cool. I like the doll arc, just kind of, I guess, the last arc, or like close to it. I don't think the MC's powers were particularly interesting. It was like he has a big Unga Bunga beast in him or something, or he can summon that. You mean it literally ended up as firewood because the unsold copies? People often see volume in circulation as actual sales when they're not. As much as I hate on the series, it wasn't bad. It just didn't do anything well either. Yeah, aside from the art, I don't think it did anything like super well. I liked Diori. I liked some of the characters. They were fine. Artwork was super cool. It's definitely not as good as some people make it out to be, but I still really enjoy it. Do you know what? I think it'd be funny if Matama's over it, even though I haven't seen read Matama. I might be a bit silly. But yeah, I feel like it's on Hardball Cop and Dolphin tier for me. Kind of, they're not like at mixed level. I think they have more good than bad traits, but I think they're a similar-ish length. I think Hardball's a bit longer. They could have been something really cool, but they were slightly too slow. Was I in the series? I bet Suzumarisu as well got a huge power up in like 2 seconds. Is that the lady character, the girl? I think she was probably the weakest. Put it below Dolphin. Well, okay, sure. think the art's what's really carrying it for me is I do remember some of those like panels and pages. I'm a sucker for some nice horror art in manga, especially Jump. Welcome back, Alex. Totsugeki Supremacy. Okay, the dolphin wins. I'm trying to think of what you've missed, Alex. I think we went through Neru, P6, and Phantom Seer. So actually two quite big ones. Dolphin has good world building, good antagonists, good character relationships. Phantom Seer in okay, a lot of people would be really upset in that place. Oh yeah, I think a lot of people would be, but I don't think okay is a bad rank at all. Even mixed isn't that bad. It just means that it just has problems. It's Firewood really, which is the axe camp. Okay, I guess we're gonna move on. Shilling Phantom Sea is definitely a meme. Earthchild is in the right place. Yeah, I think most people would agree. Welcome, Chaos Studios. Oh boy, Shugomaru. Gonna upset Crash, maybe. On the other hand, on the other side of comedy manga, to Ichigaki, I guess, we have Shugomaru, one I really love and one I just don't find funny at all. I think the biggest thing with Shugomaru is it has Yu-Gi-Oh jokes in it, and I love Yu-Gi-Oh a ton, and I just don't find any of them funny or like worth putting in there. At least it does have Yu-Gi-Oh cards though, and like Nue, which is putting fake Pokemon cards in its Jump manga, which I really dislike. That's more of a joke thing than anything, but still. Shugomaru's jokes aren't very funny. It has some of the worst artwork in Jump. Again, like it's fine for a gag manga. I don't know. Some of it's not very good. It's as good as a comedy can be without funny. Nue's only L. I don't know about that. But Nue isn't on this list, sadly, so we can't talk about it. Protect Me Shugomaru sure is a manga, but it has Yu-Gi-Oh references, so it transcends the... That's the thing. It has Yu-Gi-Oh references in, but they're not even fun. At least for me. Which I feel is like such a big, like, just mark on it for me, because I love Yu-Gi-Oh! One thing it does do right, though, is it did have that Magu chapter, which I think was very sweet and is by far the best chapter of Shugomaru. It is not enough to like put it in like mixed though. It's not a very good manga. I do not like Shugomaru, sadly. I think I'm gonna put it here though. I think Mori King's kind of worse, more than I think about it. And Beast Children is just kind of like nothing. At least you know, I put it above Build King. I don't like Build King very much. I'm gonna just put it there, I think. Samurai 8. Oh, we'll get to Samurai 8 very soon. It's ironic how Shugomaru's first chapter felt longer than the Lord of the Rings, despite it being very... I know, right? Like, that gag chapters are like, what, 36 pages, usually? Something like that. But it felt so long. Just noticed Mori King and Firewood. Oh, we got a Mori King fan. Whoa. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mori King, sadly. I mean, it's probably where it belongs, but it still hurts. I mean, in like the, I guess the sane person's tier list, like these three would all be here, but no, I like Ichigaki too much. All my cred is like gone by doing that. Oh, I moved the tier list around a bit there. It looks fine now. Okay, yeah, let's keep going. Because it is approaching 11. I'm going to finish this list though, regardless of how long we go on. Red Hood, another one I've made a video on, similar to Phantom Seer, where a ton of people love it. I've covered it fairly extensively though. really nice artwork, some good ideas. Very quickly just kind of gets boring, like the midsection with the training arc, the tag arc is just bad, and they're not quick enough at the beginning, I think. And then the ending is interesting because it is meta, and a lot of people like that. I think it's a little clunky, but still kind of cool. Really hope Kawaguchi comes back with something else in Jump at some point. I really like the art style, and I hope it involves really cool big ladies, because he's good at drawing those. Red Hood, let's go. Firewood, mixed at best. I like it more so for what it could have been. Red Hood had the best premise with an interesting world, and it didn't explore any of it. Absolutely. I really wanted to explore the world too. I love the art so much. I'm going to leave it in mixed though. I think I might put it below Fabricant, but it's going to anger people. Yeah. Like, on one hand, we have grim, but then we have very rushed ending and just slow midsection, just not very well paced. But that wasn't the manga's priority, I guess. Yeah. Also introducing 10 more fodder characters instead of fleshing out the 2 to 4 we already had. Yeah, like it introduced the 2 characters in the interim between the first arc and the second, and then it barely touched on them. You had like a really quick arc where a character learns to trust others or like befriend others. It just wasn't very good. I love its artwork so much though, and I like elements enough where it's gonna go in mixed, I think. I think we're gonna quickly move on, because if you want to know more about Red Hood, I have an X-Files video on it. I'll give it a sec just in case someone wants to say anything else, because I know it's one of the big ones. And then we go into oh boy, we go into something special. I'm really not looking forward to making a video on Samurai 8. I don't want to reread Samurai 8. Oh, Cactus is excited for Samurai 8. Oh yeah, this is another one that got English physicals. Okay, so Alex, Samurai 8 lost me as soon as the first chapter dropped. How could you possibly think it's okay for the message of the first chapter to be, you can be who you want to be as long as you're not physically handicapped? Yeah, that pissed me off so much. You could have had a really cool disabled protagonist, but no, you just cure him in the first chapter, and he's fine now. I guess he still has his glasses. I don't know. Like, I would have liked to see something better there. I can't remember 100% like what was up with him, but like, do something interesting, more inclusive. Like, give him like a cool mech body, but he's still disabled. He just uses the mech body or something. That would have been cool. Skyzade, instead of having a second group of werewolves attacking the village, they should have left the first village and had a traveling arc to the exam arc where they fight monsters. Yeah, the village was way too drawn out at the beginning of Red Hood. How is Samurai? Samurai isn't in OK. That's just the placeholder. Like, we're just putting everything in OK first, and then we're gonna move it. A disabled protagonist who was a samurai could have gone hard. Yeah, it could have gone so hard. I'm really sad that it just ditched it so quickly. When My Hero Academia does it, it's great, but when Samurai 8 does it, it's bad. I mean, if you're comparing it to like Deku, I mean, Deku isn't disabled as far as I'm aware, unless there's another character you're referring to. And then yeah, the exposition, the amount of exposition in Samurai 8's insane. Kishimoto doesn't have a pass to do that to readers just because he made Naruto. Like, you need to earn that exposition naturally through the story. Absolutely love Naruto. Even so, I tempered my expectations with Samurai 8, knowing it probably would never be as good. Even then, I was still disappointed. Samurai 8 is more like exposition than manga. And then Characters was posting some gifs. I'm not 100% sure who that is. Let me check. Carl? I don't know if that's someone real. I'm home and my internet is better, so why did Earthchild end up in Firewood? You'll read it and find out, okay. I mean, is Deku that's a whole like argument you could try to make. I don't think Deku is. I remember the Samurai protagonist literally being like, I think bound to a chair though, and he was like physically so weak he couldn't move. But like Skyzade said, I kind of get what you mean. It just would have been cool for him to do something else with it. Just be a bit more inclusive or something. The same could be said for like the second character they try to introduce, the kind of like, I guess, non-binary character who you don't really know what their gender is. I thought that was handled kind of weirdly. I don't know. And then the female character being a princess who needs a samurai to fight for her or whatever. Maybe it changes later on in the manga, because I think I ended up dropping Samurai 8. It's another one of those early ones I didn't fully read, because it was horrible. Yeah. The artwork as well, I just don't like. It was way too busy. I found it really hard to actually like pass and read, even though it's like serviceable. Yeah. What else are we saying? Bedridden and life support. Yeah. Samurai 8 was sloppy, enough said. Yeah, it is. I know. I'm sure there's like Naruto fanboys or Kishimoto fanboys who love Samurai 8, but it is really bad. I will eventually read it again and make an X-Files, because it is one I have things to say about. I'm sure. I think it's worth an Earthchild, to be honest. Arblood Oath though is worse. I hope you enjoyed the Leorio jump scare. Leorio is younger than me but looks 20 years older. Leorio is awake and gone from the future. That boy's mid-20s, the youngest. One of the biggest plot twists ever. Even the other characters were shook. Yeah, I love how Leorio looks as well at the beginning. I know Cactus has been reading recently, but like, there's that famous picture of... You know what? I want to actually find it. Just this guy. What the heck? Leorio from Latin America confirmed. Okay, time for Go Goo phone, or whatever it's called. Super smartphone. The modern day Death Note. I liked its beginning. I liked what it was trying to do. Setting up kind of mind games with the phone. The phone was a bit weird, but I liked the gimmick. I liked its like rules they were establishing, and the fact that it was kind of a death game. They were gradually building up the characters, although we only really got to see a couple of them in action. One thing going for it is the artist, which I absolutely adore. Ziga being one of my favorite Jump manga, even though only like 3 chapters are translated. I really love that series for some reason. In big part for the art. The main antagonist was so cartoonish. That's what I kind of loved about him, though. He really felt like a Dio, and I love Dio so much. Like part 1 Dio, I just love evil like bastards, and he was so evil. I love Super Smartphone. Everyone was disrespecting Death Note when this dropped. Oh god, no! Death Note's actually amazing. I feel like the life cycle of being an anime manga fan is kind of like, you get into anime manga, Death Note's one of the coolest things ever. Then you get to the point where you start saying, oh yeah, I mean, Death Note had a really good first half, but then the second half wasn't very good. And then you get to the point where you're like, Death Note kind of sucks. And then you reread Death Note and watch it again, and you're like, actually, Death Note's really good. And that's where I am right now. I'm not saying that's everyone though, but yeah, I don't know why people were bashing Death Note when Super Smartphone came out. The premise was solid, and the idea behind Super Smartphone was really fun. I agree. Dio was intimidating. Super Smartphone antagonist was a bit silly. Yeah, he definitely wasn't as intimidating as Dio. I still like him though, like Zenitsu or Zen something. Super Smartphone had bone collection syndrome. Couldn't stick with the toning. I'll agree with that actually. Yeah, the tone of it was very kind of all over the place. Like sometimes it'd be super dark, and other times it'd be a bit goofy. It could have done better if it stuck a bit more with like one or the other. Once they introduced the idol girl, I think the manga lost its way. In Super Smartphone or Death Note. We're talking about Misa? Or I don't remember an idol girl in Smartphone. I do remember Shiomizu, the police lady. I really liked her. I thought she was really cool, and I liked her design a lot. This artist has some really cool like female character designs, but sadly they just never like get developed enough because their manga gets axed too quickly. In Super Smartphone there was an idol girl with the other intelligent store clerk. Man, I don't remember like anything. I think especially near the, I feel like middle to end of the series, so much starts to happen. I've just forgotten it kind of. It definitely wasn't as good. I remember liking the arc where the criminals were raiding the apartment complex. Yeah, that was cool. That set up like a really kind of darkish tone. And then him trying to catch the goon of the main antagonist was okay. And then it just kind of lost the plot because it was getting axed and they had to rush things. I'm pretty stoked with the good arc. Yeah, I enjoyed that arc. I thought that showed that it had potential, but it just, I don't know, I guess other people didn't think so, or it just didn't do good enough. Overall, like, I kind of like Super Smartphone. I liked it a lot more before. But now I think I've got to put it in mixed. Just because, like, the ending is so quick and frantic and just weird and really doesn't, like, the first half of the series is fun and then it just becomes just kind of boring and not a story. I don't know how to describe it. It's because it got axed. Like, there's no satisfaction in this ending. I guess because it's a mystery series and you don't really get to find out too much, or it's just said so abruptly at the end. If it had more room to do what it wanted to, I could see Super Smartphone being a solid series, as I agree. You agree with mixed. I haven't read the bonus chapter either, as for most of these. I'm gonna... No, I think Fabricant actually had a cool ending. Okay, these two, it's like, who's cooler, Grim or Shiomizu? I kind of like Shiomizu a bit more, so I'm gonna leave it there. Not too much for that. I'm gonna keep going because we're going over time to one of the most recent ones, Tenmaku Cinema. I like that they killed a semi-important character. Sadly, that character didn't fit in this manga. Oh yeah, the goofy guy. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Very deflated balloon energy from Super Smartphone, sadly, for me. Tenmaku Cinema, though. Really fun series. I really like film. I like anything to do with media, really. And I'm not, like, super duper into film. I kind of want to be, though. Like, I wouldn't mind analyzing a bit more and stuff, because I do like media analysis. I do like art stuff. I do have a love for like storyboarding, which is very important to film, as it is for comics and other like sequential art projects. So just seeing them as a club like make a movie together was just really fun, and you mix in a bit of supernatural elements with Tenmaku as well, which I saw some criticism of, but I really like how they handled it. It added like a bit of spice and mystery, and it's one of my favorite tropes where a young character has like a weird supernatural mentor. Like, you can never go wrong with that usually, in my opinion. What are people saying? Tenmaku is a great manga if you like film, but if not, it's kind of bad. Love to hate Tenmaku, but once I started analyzing, it was a 5 to 6 type of series. Japanese readers didn't really attach to Tenmaku, but I see a lot of Western readers are into it. I liked it too. I didn't think it had enough cinema. Every time they focused on the side cast, it was boring. Like, the side friends weren't like too crazy. To be honest, I feel like a lot of them would have been ditched after the first arc, and we would have gotten more people. Like, I like the female like protagonist, and then her group of people, like the other director. I feel like maybe they would have worked with them next or something. I really like the fact that they had like this conclusive arc where they filmed the shore, and you got to see the shore, and the manga kind of ends, and there's a satisfying resolution for I just forget the female character's name, for her. So to me, it kind of just feels like a short series, even though I know it could have been so much more. It could have been so cool, like imagining like what kind of films they would have made, like a low budget film and then higher budget films. What genres would they tackle? What techniques would they show? What other films and cinematography stuff would they mention? Would have been really cool. But again, very niche. I don't know if everyone would have been into that. I love the sidecast and the other aspects of making a film, but I study film, so that's probably why it definitely did hit home for me. Yeah, I can imagine it doing that. I haven't studied film, but I don't know. I just really enjoyed them making the film together, and just anything about the process of creating something is just really fun for me. Anyone who appreciates the process of making art would probably enjoy it. Yeah, as do I. Once out of the blue, Tenmaku said, "Now surpass me. I knew it would get cancelled, but yeah, just plain didn't like it." Fair enough. I think just because of like, actually one more thing is because this is the Food Wars duo. I expected there to be a lot more ecchi, but there really wasn't any. Like, I don't think you can class like the few swimsuit shots we saw like as that ecchi. Some of them are just like nicely drawn. So that surprised me, and it kept the series just very nice. And there was this atmosphere it had for me where it was very like warm and summery. I don't know how else to describe it, but it made me feel very nice while reading. And for me, it's actually one of my new favorites. I'm gonna actually put it there. I'm curious to where I'd actually put it in a top 100 list now, because I really just like how concise it is, and it's just a nice little manga overall for me. Only 2 chapters, lots of ecchi. I don't remember there being like much of any. I would have liked to see Tenmaku continue, but it wasn't in the cards. Yeah, it just, I don't know. I would have liked them to have a bit more time because they are established authors, but I guess there just wasn't the fan base for it. Again, I think this is one that could be in any of these, to be honest, depending on how much you like film. I wouldn't want to see it at the bottom, though. Unless, I guess, you think because it was so niche, it's kind of destined to be axed, and then it's firewood, sure. Okay, we're going to keep moving. Oh boy, The Last Saiyuki. I think this is technically the first manga of 2019. At least date-wise, anyway. And it's like my personal first sad axe. This is a manga I really attached myself to. I ended up buying volume 1. I love the artwork. I think it's some of the most expressive in Jump. It's just kind of wowed me, like how detailed it was. And I liked the main character and kind of their plight, but upon like rereading bits and coming back to it, it isn't great. Its story is very weird. It takes its time a bit too much. And then there's other parts of it I love, like the relationship with the main character and their sister. And then I think Estelle is the girl with the kind of Sailor Moon rod. I really liked her and her relationship with Ryunosuke as well. And then you have the like crazy kid who's trying to find his sister, who like kills a bunch of kids in the preschool. That was pretty cool. Last Saiyuki sure is a manga. I remember hating the Last Saiyuki. Only read 5 chapters though. Sad axe. Yeah, I think this is one either people probably haven't read because it's a little older, or they've only read bits of. But I really like it. I guess if you're really into Journey to the West as well, that it's trying to do its own take on that story. I really liked, I guess, the first 2 arcs, like the arc with Ryunosuke coming to terms with the sister he has now, who's like kind of invaded his home and taken over his life, or kind of a lot more mature than you might expect from Jump. And then the second arc where they're on like this, I think, small island, and there's like these hell dogs. That was pretty sick, but it ends up having a really weird, rushed ending. I don't know where to put this one. I think a few years ago I would have put it in up here, maybe here, but I really recognize its flaws. I don't want to put it in mix though, because I think it has like some nice stuff, and it would kind of kill me inside if I put it that low. Would it? I don't know. It's got some nice art though. Do you know what? I'll leave it there. I won't think about it too much. And we'll move on to what I'm writing about right now. Time Paradox Ghostwriter. So the Axe File vids generally come around 2,000 words when I'm writing them. I try to keep them around 10 minutes. Currently, this one is approaching 4,000 words, and I'm going to try to cut it down, but there's so much to say about Time Paradox Ghostwriter. There's so many like aspects to consider when talking about it, and it's very polarizing because tons of people love it to death, and then other people absolutely hate it and they think it's shit. And I think that's what we're seeing in the chat right now a little. Skyzits is firewood. Really wanted Time Paradox Ghostwriter to be something it wasn't. I was hoping for Bakuman with supernatural elements. I think that's what I was hoping for too, and it really doesn't deliver on that. I think it's very weak with it's just depiction of otherworld manga. Like, it doesn't show us like what manga being serialized in Jump at the time, other than you have White Knight, you have Anima, which is I Know Un's latest series, and then you have the main character's older series called like Vitamin Man. They're just, none of them are very interesting sounding. One of the big things of criticism, which I didn't pick up on the first time I was reading it, but from other people telling me it now and then rereading, is you're told about White Knight and how good it is, but you're barely actually shown any of its pages or its premise beyond little hints. And they should have done a Bakuman and showed you like a couple of pages or something. Then there's the whole plagiarism ordeal, which is very varied, and is the reason why that video is going to be longer than the other ones probably. I think there was some genuinely interesting things to explore there. I'm trying to think of the word I want to use. It's not societal, but it's interesting, and I think they dwell on it a bit too much, and they justify it a bit too much in a weird way. and make the protagonist a little unlikable. Although I do ultimately find him quite relatable and likable by the end. I can't believe they threw the hook away by chapter 2. The rest was just a rush job, not developing any of the characters at all. Despite its clear mixed reception, I still recommend reading it, even though a lot of people don't like it. Even though it's like an absolute mess for the most part, and it muddles its themes, there's something about Time Paradox Ghostwriter that really speaks to me, and it's just the love of manga and the message it tries to convey at the end, about like you can't make things that will make everyone happy, so you should focus on trying to make something you want to make, and if one person out there enjoys what you make, then you've succeeded, and it's just something like very happy. And if you read it and you resonate with its ideas of just loving manga and its final message, then you kind of fulfill its final message of loving it. And as a creative, I just kind of fell in love with that, and it made me really happy and emotional. And it did again when I reread it. I think it's a very special series that is a mess, but it has a lot of heart to it, ultimately. The plagiarism thing was really interesting. I don't mind tackling it as a subject, but Japanese audiences despised it. Yeah, I think that seems to be the case. Although sometimes people talk about that a bit too much, and it does have a lot of problems, like structurally, and just it's a bit messy. Save the world, my final message. I mean, kind of. He has to save someone's world, I guess. I don't know. I like Time Paradox Ghostwriter. If I didn't, a few years ago, it'd be up here. I think it's gonna go here. I still like it quite a bit. Yeah, I love manga so much. It's gonna be hard for me to dislike a manga about making manga. Weird that a story about plagiarism was despised when the Japanese industry did so much and probably still does. I mean, I know what to really say about that. That's a very big topic to tackle, like the manga. So I'm gonna move on, I think, because I'm gonna make a video about that soon enough. Hopefully, it'll be out next month. Tokyo Demon Bride Story, another newish one. A really nice one-shot. Really enjoyed it. As a series, though, it just doesn't work very well, I think. The relationship between the main character and Manana, I think, just isn't very fun after a few chapters. The side cast just isn't very interesting. I like the cat girl, though. She's cool. Frog Girl, kind of meh. His sister's kind of meh. The arcs it tries to do aren't very successful, in my opinion, like the rabbit one. Them going to hell to rescue Manana is kind of interesting, and there's a cool twist. The ending is a bit weird. I don't know if I really got much out of it. I love Tokyo Demon Bride Story. One shot was good. Wish the series was better. Demon Waifu. But the MCs and the fights weren't interesting. Cute Demon Girl battle manga comedy. Yeah, about that. That's about what it is. Frog Girl and Neat Neko Girl were the only thing that actually made me care for Tokyo Demon Bride Story. And they weren't featured too heavily either. I don't know, like, it sounds like a winning formula like cute monster girl battle manga, but they didn't really lean into it too much. And instead we kind of got something kind of boring. I don't know, like a chapter now and again would like make me smile or laugh or something, but yeah, I was just kind of very meh, especially when we had Ruri Dragon like a little later on, and with only like 6 chapters, like blew it out of the water. It's a series I don't want to put in firewood. I think it has a bit of merit to it, but it's not great by any means either. Bit of a wet fart. And then we go to Tokyo Shinobi Squad, which is the manga the Phantom Seer duo did before, or I think maybe just the artist and a different author. I think that Firewood is okay. I don't know if I'd put it with the rest of them. But there's enough in Tokyo Demon Bride story. I don't think it's like absolutely really bad. I think it could have maybe survived and gotten better if it had time to. I don't know. Tokyo Shinobi Squad though, I think is another one I don't think I quite finished. Again, really good art, some interesting world building at the beginning. I like cyberpunk settings, and it had an interesting one, and some of the villains early on were cool as well. I just can't say much about it because I don't know how it ends. I'd like to go back to it though. It seems neat. Tokyo Shinobi Squad was so cool but so bad. I remember there being a big mangaka who recommended Tokyo Shinobi Squad, but I can't remember who. Yeah, a lot of people seem to like it. I actually own the first issue with Tokyo Shinobi Squad in. It ends in a pretty lackluster way. Yeah, as expected. I imagine it has like a Our Journey Continues ending. To me, like, I feel like these two are kind of on par. Like, they have some really good art and some like good concepts, but from what I remember, everything else was just kind of not too crazy. Tokyo Shinobi Squad never had any good payoff for the climax of the arcs. Okay. I think it's probably like an okay series. I don't remember anything crazy bad from my reading of it. So I'm just going to leave it there. And another manga, I think I have the first issue of Yubi Cameo Let's Loose. So this is the author behind Illegal Rare and Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan. Back to Tokyo Shinobi Squad. It constantly builds hype and then does something to just destroy all the hype and break the immersion. John, we'll put it below Itel C. Just move it back a bit. And back to Yui Cameo. I don't know if Yui Cameo's one people read all of. I read the majority of Yui Cameo. It's, again, one I just didn't read like every single chapter of in that 2019 period. Concept is solid with a girl who, when her hair's tied up, she's prim and proper and nice and has white hair, and then when her hair is down and unchained, she's like a delinquent girl. Some really good comedy aspects to that, and a bit like Double Taisei, I guess. We have the two sides of the same person. The like side main character, the boy, was really interesting because he's like a rich fuck boy. Which isn't a character you see too much in like shonen manga, I guess, or manga like this. I really liked him for some reason. I found him really interesting. It gets into like more horror aspects later on as well, which is cool. I wish it kind of decided more on what it was doing like beforehand though, and was like more consistent with it. Artwork is good. There's some other side characters I remember liking. Yeah, I'm guessing this is another one people haven't read too much, but I actually like Yui Cameo quite a bit. I'm going to put it below Saiyuki. I think these two came around the same time as well, so that's fitting. I'm guessing no one has anything to say about it, as likely people haven't read it. Zipman, okay. So Zipman has some nice art, I guess. Koehiro Koshi assistant, so that style kind of comes across. And it's a kind of hero series. It's tokusatsu, which is a very interesting thing to do in Jump. I don't really recall any other series like that. I'm not super big into like tokusatsu or anything. guess there's like Wingman, which is kind of more Sentai. Is that connected? I think. I remember Zipman one-shot basically being MHA but with robot suits instead of quirks. I really liked that concept, so I was very surprised when the serialization wasn't that. I haven't actually read the Zipman one-shot, but I probably will whenever I make a video on it. It felt so vanilla, I dropped it off chapter 1. I was going to say Wingman is probably the closest it gets. Okay. I know some people like Zipman. I don't know if I have much to say about it. I don't think it's very long. The main character's cool. I like his design. He's kind of dumb, unga bunga, goofball energy. And his brother ends up dying or is transferred into a suit, which he ends up wearing and becomes Zipman together. Zipman is the same thing as having a car with no brakes. Yeah, just kind of keeps going. And then some massive stuff comes up, like random kaiju made out of various things. I really like. It was kind of weird reading it weekly. A bit baffling, to be honest. And kind of ended unceremoniously, I think, as well. At least I don't remember how it ends. In my head, like, I don't really remember Zipman being a Jump series, to be honest. I wonder what the... Oh, no, I do know what the author's doing. The author's doing the Dragon Quest kind of sequel thing in one of the side magazines. So at least they're still doing stuff. But yeah, just kind of like... Damn it. That's going to look bad if I put it there. It's just going to call it... I mean, I'll call it Ash for now, but feel free to recommend a better name. I will do as people have asked, and I'm going to put... We're going to put our worst 3 manga there. Because these are by far the worst. Earthchild Unmixed? Uh-oh. No, I'm moving it down. I'm sorry. I still enjoyed Earthchild. Like, it's funny because it's bad. But I think this might be our list. I don't know. Let's have a look. Kill, destroy. Sure. I'll name it for you, Cactus. I like that. There we go. It may be remembered as the room of manga. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's an apt comparison. Okay, let's go through. So, transcends the axe, for me at least. Ayashimon definitely belongs there. Tenmaku, Ichigaki, all short series I really love despite them getting axed. Gravity Boys, Magu, and High School Family I feel like actually transcend the axe. Had longish runs, have nice fan bases who actually love the series a ton. I think they deserve to be up here too. Good ones, Aliens Area I enjoyed quite a bit. I think it's definitely a good manga. Not quite transcends the axe, but it's there. Time Paradox Ghost Rider has a ton of flaws, but it has a ton of heart as well, and I've got to put it in good because of that. Bone Collection, I like a ton personally. I think it's funny, has really cute artwork, deserves to be there. PPP is one of the most interesting series on this list, and despite its rocky ending, it's still good, and I'm really glad it was in Jump. All things considered, this is a solid list. Thank you. I think anyone's list would be pretty solid unless they like put everything in firewood. I'd be kind of like sad then. Aliens Area wasted potential. I mean, it could have done so much more, but I really enjoyed its run overall. In okay, we have Ginka and Glüna. I still don't think it should be in good. Dororon, pretty okay. Not as good as Bone Collection in my opinion, but it had an alright run, kind of messy at points. Last Saiyuki, okay. UV Cameo okay. Matama okay. I feel like they're all okay. These three, like decently loved by the community. All okay. I don't think they're super good. I don't think they're horrible. Itel C, probably one of the more polarizing ones. I still think it's alright. Do you know what? I'm going to move it down a little bit. Then Taisei, you know what? We'll put that there. All of these are wasted potential, to be fair, apart from maybe Magu or Gravity and High School Family. Yeah, I feel like they at least got to stretch their potential out a bit. With Magu and Gravity kind of like having fun, nice ends, which are almost natural. Probably because they're not like these long stories with like a set time point end. Like they could keep going on forever. Let's keep going to mixed. Fabricant's definitely... I feel like almost moving Fabricant up to okay. I think I'll leave it there though. Super Smartphone's mixed. Red Hood's mixed. Tokyo Demon Bride's mixed. Yeah, Nine Dragons is mixed. I don't want to put it in Firewood. Same with Guardian of the Witch. That's the thing. Most of the Jump series, even the bad ones, have a solid premise. If rewritten, I can see these ending up as solid series. Yeah, like everything in Jump. Like almost everything in Jump is like... I don't know. It's in Jump for a reason. The editorial thought people would enjoy it. The creators thought people would enjoy it. There's a few like abysmally bad series in Jump, but I try to give like some love to every series, even like the ones down here. Like I really like Gill. There's stuff I like about a lot of these other ones. Earthchild, even though it's really badly written, at least gave me quite a lot of joy. So some of them definitely need to be one-shot based on description. I mean, some of them started as one-shots and kind of were extended even. But some of them probably would have done better just as a one-shot concept and not a serialization. Or they should have been cooked more at least. They wouldn't get serialized if they didn't have potential. Yeah, exactly. And these are just the kind of... ones that didn't get to stretch their wings or just weren't fast enough. Maybe I'll do like an alternate stream where we go through the ones which haven't got axed or had natural endings in this time frame at some point. Earthchild should have been a one-volume series about their relationship, but yeah, it would have been a nice like short series and not a weird 3-volume one. I think I'm pretty happy with the list overall. There's a couple of series on this list that would have been better off if they stuck with the story and feel of their one-shots. Yeah, I know a few of them probably would have done better. Like Fabricant would have probably... I mean, personally, I think it would have been better if the design didn't change. Same with Dororon. I don't know about the quality of the story. Zipman sounded like it would have been cooler if it maybe kept its original premise as well. Yeah. You can make an end of the year list with the current manga so that we see New Way on top. I mean, I'm gonna be doing... I want to do an end of the year, like 2023 retrospective of just like how Jump's been this year. And if you've followed me like on Twitter or anything, you'll know I do like the weekly tier thing I do. And last year I like put all of the data I had in a graph and like found my like median series, like what series did the best, what series kind of, how do they rank overall, like based on the ranks I gave them throughout the year. So I'm gonna make a video about the whole year and include stuff like that as kind of just weird data, I guess. I'd like to, I guess, involve the server table of contents as well, which we've been trying to do more of on the server. I don't think many people have answered the last poll though, like only 3 people. So we'll see how that goes. What else? A year-end review would be great. Yeah, basically like Super Eye Patchables, the current state of Shonen Jump, I guess, except it's actually just talking about the year of Jump, how, like, what each series has been doing, like what happened with them this year, how I feel about them, and what series got axed, what new series do we have. I'll try not to touch too much on the future though, because I already made a video about that. But yeah. I don't think Eye Patch Wolf's gonna make any more. I think he said like he's done. I completely agree. Like, you actually need to put a lot of effort into keeping up with Jump, and you have to really love it. Like, I guess like me, I don't want to sound what's the word? Like full of myself, but I love Jump so much, and I keep attention to it. And yeah, like everyone here as well. Like, you've all read most of these just as I have. The only outlier being Cactus, who's read like none of them. Not like me, exactly. I love how he's a mod as well. It's so funny to me. I really like Eye Patch Wolf's videos and stuff, even though he got a bunch of stuff wrong in them. Definitely like pushed me to get a bit more into Jump with the first one, even though I was pretty into it already. I know Crash, like, he wants to make one as well. Maybe I could talk to him about like collabing or something. That would have been cool. Maybe he'll have some stuff to say about a couple series he wants to. But I'll get in touch with him close to the time, maybe. Yeah, I feel like if I made like current state of Shonen Jump, or like a year in review of Shonen Jump, I'm gonna be biased still. But I'll be a bit like more well-rounded. Like, I'll actually touch on most series. I guess Elusive Samurai being a bit less touched on, but I have actually read a few chapters this year. I was thinking of making one ages ago, but can't be bothered getting the YouTube up and running again. It's kind of a lot of work to get into, but when you get going with making videos, at least for me, it's really fun. Elusive Samurai's been so good lately. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't know. I like binged skim read it because I didn't like not having read it, but I didn't like it when it came out. Read like 25 chapters. And the recent ones, like, some have been okay, some of them I don't like. It really depends. It's really not for me though. Trying to be unbiased sounds like it's more... Yeah, I don't think I could be unbiased, but I could at least touch on everything and give everything like a little bit of time, which, unlike Eye Patch Wolf, he definitely like passed by stuff like Yuzakura and Undead Unluck without saying like anything about them. I would like to make one too, but actually following through with making a script seems incredibly tedious. Scripting is like one of the easiest parts for me. Like, I know what I want to say. It's the editing that's the hardest part. Like, editing audio is it sucks sometimes. I just don't have a lot of time. I know I'd get burnt out if I spent all my free time working on vids. Oh, 100%. I think I'm lucky in that I find it a really nice outlook. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Outlet. It's a really nice outlet for me when I'm not drawing. It's very creatively fulfilling. Editing is the fun part. Video editing is super fun. Audio editing sucks ass. It's boring. Like, adding in all of the little manga and little jokes and music is so much fun, but like trying to edit out breaths in like the audio recording like super sucks. But yeah, I'm looking forward to making more stuff towards the end of the year. I hope I have time. Have you started on the script? You would have to touch on 33 different series and counting. I'd want to do so like as soon as we actually get to the end of the Jump like year. So not the actual end of the year, but like when we reach issue 52 of this year, and because we get like issue, I think like 1 to 4 kind of in December usually. So somewhere around then, hopefully, and then maybe I'll release it in January, because hopefully I'll get time in January to like have a lot more free time and make things. Teach people how the TOC cancellation batch stuff work in those yearly videos, mostly because there are a lot of misconceptions. That could be good, yeah. Like just saying like, this is the TOC. It's the recommended read order, basically. It doesn't actually mean anything, although if you are at the back, you're most likely not going to be as read, but it doesn't, yeah. Just trying to clarify that would be good. Yeah, the TOC isn't the be-all end-all. Sales matter, other things matter. I mean, like the Jump reader surveys clearly matter, but we don't know the results of those. But if you own an issue of Jump, you have a little Jump reader survey card in them. Yeah, I wouldn't even want to get too into sales or anything. It's not my thing, but I'd mention stuff like that at the beginning. Hopefully I can make something like that by January. That'd be cool. And hopefully people don't shout at me for being wrong. I don't think anyone's really shouted at me for being wrong with Jump stuff too much so far. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next few vids. Halloween one should be fun. I hopefully can get it done this weekend. More X-Files. I want to finish the Time Paradox one next month, and the next history video. I'm reading through Dr. Slump, which is a lot of fun, actually. I actually really enjoy Dr. Slump, like 50 chapters in. There's a couple other old manga I need to read as well, though. I wonder how much Manga Plus views are considered when making the TOC. I'm not sure. That'd be interesting to consider. I'm sure they do somewhat, at least. They've got to, because like they've got to take into consideration like other things, like the digital stuff now, because it's a big part of it, especially because the physicalness of Jump is kind of dying down slowly, although I think we'll still have Jump for like years to come, physically anyway. Dr. Slump is so fun. Dr. Slump, yeah, it's super fun. I can't wait to talk about it, to be honest. The thumbnail was fun to make too for that video, which is already done. After Kagurabachi, they might start to actually pay attention. Hopefully they do, and they accept a bit more change. That'd be cool. Since Western readers don't get access to the reader survey, I like to think this is an alternative to that. Yeah, I guess so. I hope they take a little consideration into it. Like, they see Kagurabachi is doing super good in the TOC, and then they decide, okay, we're going to factor this in. It might not be a massive factor, but it's like a little factor. The only way for international input to actually matter is if they start releasing volume 1s in the biggest overseas markets. Yeah. Which they won't do, I don't think. Ooh, I don't know much about the sales for Kagurabachi yet. We will see. I hope Mama Yuyu sells, though. That's the one I want to stay the most. Although all three are pretty good. The language barrier seems a little big. Yeah. We'll see. Okay. I think I'm gonna start wrapping up, because we have gone over by quite a bit. Mama Yu's doing solid in Manga Plus. Yeah, but Mama Yu and Kagurabachi are doing pretty good in those. Kagurabachi doing like amazing, obviously. But yeah, this has been the stream. Thanks for everyone for coming. There's quite a few people like messaging and stuff throughout. I'm glad you stayed the whole way through, and if you had to go out, like duck out in the middle, hopefully you can catch the VOD. Hope I didn't malign your favorite series too much. I think I've been pretty fair, to be honest. Feel free to make your own and put Ichigaki like in fucking Kill Destroy. I know not everyone likes it, that's the beauty of these. Feel free to share them with me as well if you want to add me on Twitter with them, or send them to me in Discord or the server or something. That would be sick. Glad you guys have had fun. Have a nice rest of your day or night, at least for me. And hopefully I stream again, because this was quite fun. Yeah, wicked sick.